Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
Gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers. Sorry about the late start. Jose Bouquet is en route to Miami. So he's en route to Miami. We expect to still do the Cappers contest at 2 p.m. Eastern. He'll be landing shortly. He did put the graphics in for me, so we're all good to go there. But I will be producing the show myself. So if I slip up and forget to put a graphic up, if you could just kindly let me know, and I will manage that. The battle is fierce right now. Those of you in the chat, I'm sure the time for sleep is minimal because you are trying to cap all of the action in front of us. And it's very difficult. The struggle is real, and it's still extremely enjoyable. Even with this enormous lack of sleep, it is still extremely enjoyable. Even though I took the Brooklyn Nets money line instead of the +2.5, it is still extremely enjoyable. But it hurt. That hurt. But I didn't take the Charlotte Hornets money line. No, took them +4. Hurt. Now, I did take the +4 on the Knicks, so I got the push there. The decision on Jacksonville State was just, I had to get up and get out for a walk. I hadn't been outside in a long time. It's been very warm here, supposedly. I wouldn't know. But I'm very excited to be here with you guys right now today. And I don't take this for granted. I'm so thankful that I get the opportunity to cap with you guys day in and day out. It means everything to me. And we have an incredible show. We have Mr. Gogster coming off a big Tuesday Frozen Frenzy card. Very successful card for Mr. Gogster. And we got NHL and NFL with Mr. Gogster. And then we have It's Darryl joining us for NBA. He is in Austin, Texas right now with family. So he's not in his usual shooting location in Los Angeles, California. But he was excellent last year. He was our best NBA capper, ROI, unit-wise. And he's now, this is the third year of us working together, and he's been very successful in his first 2 seasons here. So he's back. He's our Thursday NBA capper. We might be switching some things around date-wise. It's not all set in stone. And LJ from H-Town will be with us tomorrow. Then we have Daby Cab joining us. So a couple bets that I did make. I moved on 2 of Big Ragu's spots. I moved on the under in Florida State Wake. I got 51. And I moved on Louisville -4. We're also doing best bets with Daby Cab today. We'll start out with the 2 Thursday night games. One spot starting to look a little appealing. But I've moved on 2 more best bets, and I really like them. All I've seen online, not from our guys, but just like online, are people on the other side of both my spots, which is what I like. I prefer it that way, and I really, really like them. In fact, even though the 2 spots from yesterday were what I thought initially were my best bets, I think I like these 2 better. The under in the hockey game last night, blew up in my face. But the legitimacy of a team of veterans rallying around a 27-year-old or, anybody over 26 who is undrafted, who's making his NHL debut is real. They rally around that in that situation. And, it's all good. what I tried to do, to get the under 6.5. And Shepard did fall apart, as I think Billy Friedrich guessed that he would. Said after the first period, he thinks he'll struggle. But, it sucks. It sucks coming off a day like yesterday. But we've been running real nice, and they're going to happen. And the most important thing is to bounce back. And that's what I plan to do here. I've not moved on any of these NHL games, but I can't wait to break them down. And I can't wait to rock with all of you guys right now. So let me jump into the chat. Dan Kelly says you can still get the Magic plus 750 to win the Southeast. Just got on New Orleans Pelicans to win the Southwest. I think both of those spots make sense. I beat myself up for not moving on New Orleans, But again, all I was that tip-in basket away in the Nets game from a winning day in NBA. So, you just got to handle the bounces as best you can. NJ Striker in the house. There's the nuke worker. Dan Kelly said would not take Vic at plus 340 to be the season blocks leader. Well, you got it at 13-1. Dan Kelly also talking about Arthur Thompson saying, saw some props on him yesterday. Kid's going to be a star. Joseph Thompson in the house. What up, Joe T, J Smooth, Tori, Coker, Kadesh, Dean, Vom, Polo. Justin McElvey running hot, man. And, that's why I think, and I hope that when, and if anybody, needs help tracking their action, please, if any of the low baggers in the chat need any help, just just DM me on Twitter. And I can help because, when you have a capper like Justin McElvey who gives out plus lines all the time, I think it's an injustice that all we see is 87 and 89 because people will look at that record and not think it's good, but he's not a minus 110 capper. 87 and 89, he's got a healthy positive ROI and he's got a real big average line. And I think those are important metrics that we should be, showing. But respect Justin McElvey. Davis over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Justin McElvey, expecting the bounce back spot from the brow. Kadesh said hit a nice two-leg on PRA under Zach Collins and Anthony Simons. Nice. Yeah, we watched son Dizzle had a stopover last night. He was in Colombia. He was in Colombia, and he's stopped over in Toronto last night on his way to the Kelowna Comedy Festival. So he was over last night and brought over expensive bottle of rum. We watched those two basketball games, and I capped till 3 a.m, and I'm ready to go. Right? Can go. Series business in the house. There's Fly White Mike says Jacksonville State cruised last night for an easy win, and Deltoids gave me a wild push. That was wild football last night. Not the Jacksonville State game, but you have a total of 37 in the Sam Houston game. And, something just wasn't right, I thought. Look, I am one of my best bets today is a team with, a very ugly record playing against a team with a better record, and they're the favorites on the road. And so I have no problem handling that. It was just, there was something fishy about that line going up to 3.5 and coming back to 3 on Sam Houston. Even though I wanted him so bad, there was something that just wasn't right about that. It just didn't make sense that it wouldn't continue moving in that direction. Sure, it closed at 4. And if it had just gone right to 4, I would have bet it. But it went back to 3 with all the money on it. And there was something so fishy about that. But Jacksonville State got me right in the old goat hole. Billy Friedrich in the house, and he says if Bobano was here, we'd be done by now. You're right. But I am. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. We got a lot to cap. Dan Kelly said I think the altitude crushed AD in the second half on Tuesday. It possibly is an issue there with him. He fell apart. Philly Eagle, Flyer, Nasty, motherfucking Nate D. Jenkins, Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast in the house. We have Mr. Vape. Mr. Vape moving on Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the EuroLeague over 165.5. Says both teams have no problem scoring so far this year. One team gets in the 90s, one in the 80s. Mr. Vape moving on the over in Barcelona, Real Madrid in EuroLeague basketball right there. There is Kong's Clips in the house. Polo this, Polo that. Philly Eagle, Flyer cashing huge on the Caps money line. Caps money line and the same game parlay, Caps plus 1.5 and the over 5.5. Mikey M, star of our big new hit show, Last Call, 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, right here on Pub Sports Radio. Speaking of which, he's hosting the Thursday night football game. We're going to cap it with Gogster. I've got 2 bets that I'm really confident in, and markets moved in my favor in both. I'm feeling really good about it. I will host the Sunday I'm not hosting the Monday, and I've already got my same game parlay. I did my first two last week, cashed both. Both at plus 475. I've got mine ready to go for Sunday. Got it ready to go, and I'm not going to tweet it out or anything like that. It's not going to be an official pick. I'm going to bet it, with you guys, but the only people who will know about it will be the people who are on our live stream on Sunday night. Tori Kokas says NBA was beautiful until the Heat let Detroit come back and killed my 16 parlay. Damn, Tori. Yeah, I sorry to hear that. There's Nate Dogg in the house. Major Tom, J Dub, Jeffrey Moore, Jay Peasy cheering for the Pelicanos. Yeah, that was pull this, pull that. Says that Poole hurt him yesterday, but easy Pelicans and Sacramento Clippers money. Yeah, Sacramento's. Oh, and then that hurt. Obviously, that hurt bad. The birthday picks, go down the drain, and that's the first time I've had a 10-game winning streak and a birthday pick, and it's JR who's celebrating his birthday at the Nets Cavs game, and I hated letting you down there, JR. That hurt. Ronnie and Bergie cashed Florida International under 18 Sam Houston minus 2.5 first half. Tough games. Quite proud of myself. Yeah, they were tough. I think today will be a little easier. Jeffrey Moore says Avalanche minus 135 suspect or bet. I can't wait to talk about all of that. Equanimus in the house. We have Diehard MMA podcasting over 3.5 shots on goal and goal prop thanks to the empty net. I thought I was dead. Yes, that was fortunate. Dan Kelly says Scotty Barnes could be the guy for your Raps. I was very impressed with how the Raps played. And I did move and I put a hefty bet down on the over 36.5 wins. That's the only future bet I've made so far this year. And I was very impressed with the transition game, with the way, everybody's feeling around Darko. Even the way, he made it clear with Chris Boucher what the situation was. I'm excited. Transition defense. Precious doesn't get the extension. He steps up. I mean, he played the key parts of the game instead of Pirtle. It's fun to have hope in game one. Now, how high can we get? I don't know. Can we do better than the play-in? I don't know. But we're going to play hard-nosed defense. We're going to transition. Schroeder's scared of nobody. And I'm excited about the squad. And Scotty Barnes. I mean, Scotty Barnes and OG. I mean, how many blocks did they have combined last night? It was impressive. Real Deal Prime Proof bets ready to go. Jared TG says, I think I'm done betting unders in NHL for a while. Every time I do, there's 8+ goals. I'm sorry, Jared TG. I led you guys wrong there. That was my fault. Sancho goes 7-0 yesterday. Nice job. And yeah, Ronnie, that hurt. And Kadesh Dean says Memphis is losing steam early. Harold Williams coming off a 5-1 day. Deshaun G in the house. Great to see all you guys. Mr. Vape, Jay Peasy. Said all those goals in the second period were on broken plays in front of the net. Yeah. Gregory Wilson. Nice to see Gregory Wilson, man. We've missed you. Gregory Wilson was at our very first Pub-A-Palooza, and man, he was so much fun to run with. Teacher down in Texas. What up, Gregory Wilson? Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day is in. It is Boston minus 1.5. Let's copy and paste that right now. That is our first game that we are breaking down. And Jose from the plane got us graphics. Justin McElvey, get on Twitter, man. That's where we do our work. Get on. It's really helpful, and it's the whole squad's there. Kent Davies has interesting betting action for tonight's NFL game. I'm very confident in my spot tonight. No, that doesn't necessarily equate to success, but I'm very confident in it. And yes, the Brinkat is sick. DeBrincat, I should say, is sick. You are right there, Clint. He may or may not be in the lineup. Mike Wilkerson on Avalanche money line. Lucas Ryan, saturated, coming off a monster night. Love to see that. Slow Jams, Arsenault, ready to go. Thank you guys for joining us. There's Sky Dragon, Kelly McInnes. The squad is ready to go. So let's do it. Let's get after it right now. Perfect rotation. I hope I hit all of you guys because this show only succeeds because of you guys. And you guys inspire everybody on this channel. This chat inspires them to work harder and prep more and just be ready to go. Justin McAfee says, I apologize, bro, but I don't do social media. I feel you. I honestly, I don't take pictures. I honestly don't feel like Twitter is that, but that's all good, Justin. Yeah, you can, anytime you want to email, you can email me, jimmythebag@hotmail.com. All right, let's get to work and bring on your first guest. We'll be capping the NHL card and the Thursday night NFL game. Please, we talk about Rochester being dirty, but I don't know if it holds a candle to where Gogster's from. It's dirty. It's dirty. It's a land of limps and necktats. Please, and that's just the women. Please welcome from Belleville, Ontario, Mr. Gogster to the show. Gogster, what's good?
What's going on, Jim? Some breaking news here for the Senators, guys. Shane Pinto looks like he's going to be suspended. So sports betting, Jim. Sports betting infraction on Shane Pinto. He's gone.
Whoa, finally trickling down to the puck. Wow.
The guy hasn't been playing for damn contract negotiations. Now he's been sports and he's been gambling the whole time. Like, I can't blame him, but like, come on. They should have had him sign, and now it's just a whole shit show. So Shane Pinto, you know, it's turning into the, what's his name? Formanton. Hopefully he's not like Formanton. You know, he's playing in Europe right now. So it's not some good news for the Sens.
No, that is not good news. That's wild. There's Jacqueline D. Jenkins in the house. Leonard Porsche Jr., Nasty Nate, Rocco Rogers. Wow, that's wild. And your nickname, everybody knows that you are the Raw Dog.
Old Costa Rica days.
Yeah, those are Costa Rica days. All right, let's get to work here, Mr. Gogster. Let me get the graphics ready to go. Again, if I fall back on the graphics, please let me know. Please. Let me know.
Oh, I can't get my mouth around that thing. Oh,
let's get to work right now. And we start with the Anaheim Ducks at the Boston Bruins. Let's get to work here. Anaheim Ducks 2-4-0, 1-2-0 on the road. The Boston Bruins 6-0, 2-0 at home. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Unders have gone 5-0-1, I should say. In their 6 games, like we said right off the beginning of in our very first show, that the Boston Bruins will be catching unders nonstop. They have done that. Let's go over to the line history here for this one. We will not be talking about the cash flow in NHL, just the line history. We will start with the money line. The Boston Bruins are opening up at -300. They're now at -305. That is a ludicrous number. And I love Ducks first periods, but if you want to try to catch this Boston Bruins team sleepy, I don't know. I think you may have found the wrong squad. From a total scenario, this is sitting at 6. That is too high. Opened up 6 -110. It's now at -113. I believe that is too high. There's razor sharp picks heading out to Delaware Park right now.
Let's go.
And, that's wonderful. Anybody in the area, go down and have a drink with our guy, Razor Sharp Picks. Okay, so here we go. Johnny Gibson. I have Johnny Gibson, Linus Ullmark, but Lucas Dostal is playing very, very well. And Johnny Gibson should step his game up. He's been okay this year, 2.72 goals against average, 907 save percentage. He's 0-3. That's not all on him. The Linus Ullmark Swayman combinations, God, what can you say about these guys?
It's unreal.
They're playing so well.
Yeah.
Ducks coming off at 3. Oh, first off, we have power play penalty killing percentages. I feel like enough time has gone by now where we can start discussing it. Anaheim's power play is being a mess. 5.3% power play start the year. And where's Trevor Zegras? He's nowhere to be found. 76.5% penalty killing. That's going to hold the Ducks back. They lost Drysdale after 2 games. He was playing 22 minutes a game. There's missing pieces. But I do believe this Anaheim team is on the upswing. Boston Bruins 13.6% power play. We knew that was going to happen without Patrice Bergeron out there, and 96% penalty killing, and that's just special, man. I wish I was a Boston Bruins fan, because I would love this hockey team, and I would love what they're doing without Bergeron, and I would start to love Charlie Coyle trying to emulate Bergeron, and I would love Pavel Zacha. I'd love all these guys. I find this team. Now, I'm not a Bruins fan, and so I don't cheer for them, and I want them to lose, but that's because of the horrific things they did to the Canucks in the Stanley Cup final in 2011 when we lit our city on fire. So Dostal's being great. The Ducks have also played the 4 straight unders. Mm-hmm. One of those unders was against these Bruins in Anaheim when the Bruins won 3-1 on Sunday. Zegras has 1 assist through 6 games. He's still on the top line with Troy Terry and Adam Henrique, but Mason McTavish, who I talked about all last year, he's getting more ice time, slightly than Zegras, and he's going to be a better player than Zegras. I believe Mason McTavish will be.
I agree.
And they're dealing with these injuries. They have no Killorn, no Isaac Lindstrom. Both of them didn't start the season due to injuries. We talked about Drysdale. He's an important defenseman. This is game 2 of a 4-game road trip. They head to Pennsylvania next for games against the Flyers and the Penguins. Bruins have come off that 3-0 victory at Chicago on Tuesday. They've allowed 7 goals in 6 games. I mean, God, they're very good. Van Riemsdyk has fit in perfectly. They're so big and tough to play against. I know Lucic is day-to-day right now. This is the first game of a 4-game homestand. Take it away for us here, Gogster. First game on the board, Ducks, Bruins.
Yeah, I agree with everything you had to say there, Jimmy. Where I'm going to go with here is I'm looking at Boston and the under. I had this on a show before. I took Boston money line guys and the under 6.5. I'm getting that at plus 125. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're making great points for Anaheim. I think they'll be better as the season goes on. Get Drysdale back hopefully soon. But they still, for the most part, they're not scoring. 6 goals against Carolina, that's it. And then Boston haven't allowed more than 3 goals all year, guys. So I also have a lean here. I don't know if I want to play this, Jimmy. I got Anaheim no goal in the first period, under 0.5 at plus 102. But again, it's just the spot here for Boston is a little weird. They got that long road trip at West, then playing Chicago, now coming back home. So I'm going to lay off actually the Anaheim play. I'm not going to take that one. I was going to add that, but I'm going to take Boston moneyline in the under 6.5. All the reasons you said there, Jimmy. And the way Allmark's playing there, 3 games, 3 wins, and they've all been 3-1. They've been against Anaheim, San Jose, and Chicago, so weaker teams as well. And they got Anaheim again. I'm just not going to overthink this one, guys. I'm going to take the under 6.5 in Boston to win this plus 125.
Yeah, I don't usually care about the money, but
It's not going to the over, is it?
No, you have 93% of the cash on the under, and it's not moving. And 90% of the tickets on it. So what Bruins money line, the under 6.5 was at what? Minus
plus 125.
Plus 125. So I'm not going to move on this under. And the reasoning is this. They come home. The Bruins, they come on home, and they've allowed 7 goals, 6 games, but they come home after, a road trip, a legit road trip out to California and then back. And then I told you guys after those, the Islanders allowed 1 goal or 2 goals in their first 2 games. I was like, it doesn't quite always work like this. And I feel like that you can go to the well one too many times. And that's all. This should not be a 6. This should be a 5.5. If it is a 6, it should be at minus 125. They're opening up their arms to under cash right now. And I'm not telling you not to bet it. It just, something doesn't feel right. They were on a business trip. They came home. They probably dealt with their families. And now, and does that mean I want the Ducks first period? It doesn't. Not with Gibson in net. But something just doesn't feel right here for me, and I'm going to stay off of it, but I will cheer you on, Gogster. I completely understand the situation or the feeling that you have there, but I'm going to stay off of it. And we have, let me move over here. Kong's Clip says, today's my 6-year anniversary. Going to cash tonight and give all the money to my beautiful lady. Respect, Kong, and your beautiful lady.
For the day.
Yes. Kadesh Dean says, is the puck line the same as spread in the NHL? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, minus 1.5. That's the puck line. Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. And Dale Turner says nobody talking about the Bruins rookie sensation Matthew Poitras.
Yes, I was going to bring him up, the center. Because they lost 2 centermen, right, with Bergeron and the guy slipping my mind there, Krejci. So Porteous here, he's been a real big improvement for this team, centering the second line with DeBrusk and Geeky. So yeah, this is a player that's been in their system too in the AHL gym for a while. So I think losing those 2 centermen too, I wouldn't like the unders make sense for Boston, just how they're built, and then losing a little bit of offense for sure with those 2 centermen, especially winning faceoffs. So I still like the under 6.5. Who knows? By the time our guy Mike M has his show, could be minus 125. But I just, if this was a team, maybe Jim had a little more offense, I guess you could say. I know Anaheim's just an up and coming team. I just don't trust them yet. That's kind of why I'm still relying on Boston here. But it is the spot for Boston coming off that 4-game road trip. Sometimes you don't want to back a team, but with Boston, Jimmy, I think they're, as I like to say, a well-oiled machine. So I'm going to trust them.
If Lucas Dostal was in goal, I would do that as well. I'm just not going to here, but I will cheer you on. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is in. It is the Boston Bruins -1.5, -117. Shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford. Let's move on to game 2 here for us, and it is the Columbus Blue Jackets at the Montreal Canadiens. Les Habitants in action, and when Kirby Dach went down, it was not good. They're trying to build this young nucleus, and to watch Sean Monahan and Tanner Pearson step up, I like it, and I like it not because it reminds me of 2018 when these guys were, legit hockey players. I like it because it's going to build hope for the Montreal Canadiens. And then these guys are going to fall apart in front of the Canadiens fans' eyes. And you're going to go on a 10-game losing streak, and I'm going to fucking laugh.
La plus grande franchise dans la histoire du hockey.
We're at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. Elvis Merzlikins, 2-1-1, 2.69 goals against average, .913 save percentage. He's looked pretty good this year. Jake Allen's looked very good, 2-0-1, 2.58 goals against average, .929 save percentage. Let's go into the line history here. We have the total at 6.5. It is juiced to the over, but it's come back. It's come down 7 cents.
Yeah.
Come down 7 cents in this one. Let's get into the money line here for this one. We have the Habs at -115. They opened up at -129. That's the legit market move towards the Columbus Blue Jackets. 14.3% power play, 85% penalty killing. Montreal's power plays at 16.7%. Penalty killing at 75.8%. We have Philly Eagle Flyer on the Habs money line. Nate Dogg Montreal money line leaning over. Marcus Anderson on Columbus Blue Jackets money line. And Clint saying Canadians here, and Cole Caulfield, I have his 40+ goals this year, and I think he's going to get me a few tonight. And Mike M says, what do you think angers Habs fans more? Your coach doesn't speak French, or when he does it, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard? I think that they don't like that he speaks French. I think they always want you to be trying to learn French.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
If you
much
don't try to learn French, it's the same thing, in every language. When I first went down to Costa Rica, I'd be like, no anglais, and people just treated me like trash. As soon as I started saying, lo siento, mi español no bueno, everyone's like, everyone, they didn't, it's just about putting out effort, I think. But let's roll here. Columbus comes in off a 3-2 overtime loss at home to Anaheim on Tuesday to snap their 2-game winning streak. Boone Jenner been leading the way with 4 goals through 6 games. And Ivan Provorov looks great in his first season with Columbus. 3rd overall pick, Adam Fantilli out of the University of Michigan, also the Real article. I can't write down the Real article without thinking about the late, great John Candy and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Is that his nickname, Jimmy? The Real article?
No, he just it's in his monologue. That's that monologue at the end.
Oh, okay.
It's such a funny movie to have this poignant, heartbreaking monologue at the end. I digress. Johnny Hockey and Patrick Laine have combined for 1 goal this year through 10 games. Laine's out tonight with a back injury. The Habs come in off a 5-2 loss at home to the Devils on Tuesday, snapped their 2-game winning streak. Nick Suzuki has not looked good to start the year, but they're getting production from the unlikely sources that I talked about off the top. Sean Monahan, 5 points in 6 games. He's a +4. Wait for that to crumble. Tanner Pearson playing way above expectations. That's going to buckle. And Alex Newhook, I think that the
good addition.
Habs gave up on him a little early, but who do you trust? And in life, I trust Joe Sakic. That's who I trust. And if he doesn't think Newhook is got a future, a bright future. Well, then Newhook doesn't have a bright future. Already, you have David Savard and Chris Weidman injured. And now they have Caden Gooley hurt with an upper body injury. Are they going to be missing 3? Yeah, Mikey. Are they going to be missing 3 defensemen now? TJ says Montreal first period money line that come out firing. North Ender says Tanner Pearson, Habs legend. Marcus Anderson looking at Adam Fantilli over 2.5. And Billy Friedrich says Montembeault is in goal for the Habs. Is that facts? Is that why the market's moved? That must be facts if he's saying it. Let me look into that. And why don't you take?
I thought he was going to start. Yeah, go ahead and look into that, Jim. Yeah,
I will look into it right now. But take it away, my man. Floor is yours.
Yeah, this Columbus game, guys. I'm kind of with our one guy in the chat. He said Columbus there. I think this is going to be a bounce back spot for Columbus. They didn't get it done against Anaheim, but just seeing what Fantilli, Jim, he got on the board there, goal and assist last game. Merzlikins too. Allen, both of these goalies, if it's Allen Merzlikins, I lean to the under here, especially with no liner. You're missing some offense there with Columbus, and you brought up the injuries there for Montreal. They're real. I'm still going to stick with Columbus, guys. I'm even going to do a double up spot here. I know TJ, it's good points we had with Montreal. I know Columbus has a good first period money line record as well. I'm going to take Columbus, Jim, on the money line here, minus 105, and I'm taking them plus 102. A little bit of leap of faith here, but Merzlikins, he's got a solid track record too against Montreal. This is a stronger team, especially offensively for Montreal. But I like what they've done, bringing their youth, kind of their top 2 lines, and that third line, Jimmy. They even have Gallagher with Monahan and Pearson. So I like what I'm seeing from Montreal. But in this spot, I think we're gonna get a really good performance here from Columbus. And Merzlikins hasn't been too bad. He's been better than I think his numbers have shown. So I'm going to double up spot here on Columbus, first period and money line, guys.
First period and money line. And I'm going to be, huge lack of sleep right now. So I'm going to miss numbers. What was your first period?
I said it pretty quick. Minus 105 on the first period, Jim.
Okay. And the money line?
And it was plus 102. Plus 102.
Well, I agree with this look on Columbus. And I want to take it just a couple steps further. And I was not planning on being on Columbus. I'm taking a couple of steps further. Yes, I think Montembeault is a problem. 2, I think Elvis Merzlikins is going to have a good season, and I think he's a good goaltender. I think he's top 15 in the NHL. And also, think about Columbus. Think about these players. A lot of them are proud, hockey players that play in somewhat of a sleepy arena at times, and now they get to go up to Montreal and look at all those banners and play in the sold out Bell Center.
And another thing too, Jim, is this team's finally healthy. I know last year, guys, like they didn't have Jake Bean, Werenski was hurt, like their defense was in shambles, and now they've added Provorov too. This is a much better team defensively too than you'd think, and they got a lot of young talent too that I like, especially this Marchenko.
Fantilli gets his first game at the Bell Center.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm with you guys. Columbus is on the card. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Let's just get this going here. And God, this is I need Jose back. We move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Winnipeg Jets 3-3-0, 1-1-0 on the road. The Detroit Red Wings 5-1-1, 3-0-1 at home. Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. Connor Hellebuck and James Reimer going to be in between the pipes. Is that confirmed that Reimer is between the pipes?
I didn't have Reimer. Is it Reimer?
Yeah, it's confirmed. Okay. Billy Friedrich saying it is confirmed.
Thanks,
here. So the big story is Bones' wife, Judy, had the seizure, and he's with her. She's come home from hospital, but the Jets are rallying around this. Any team in any sport will do. A good team will rally around things like that. And so also they get out of Winnipeg. Again, they just broke another record last game for the fewest fans.
Again?
Yeah, they broke it again. 11,136. So the next stop will be in the 10,000s in Winnipeg. And Scheifele has a point in every game this year. I think Josh Morrissey is a top 5 defenseman. Bones is his nickname, but I hear you, Billy. I think Josh Morrissey is a top 5 defenseman in the NHL. So I wanted to get in on Winnipeg. I don't believe Detroit. I mean, it's easy to say Detroit's not as good as they're win-loss record indicates. But I looked at the line. I was like, wait, what? Winnipeg's a minus 125 favorite. I
now.
I can't. Clint says fade the Red Wings here today. I can't. And Clint says if DeBrincat doesn't play, I just can't. Now, look, I get that the Jets want to get out of Winnipeg, but I cannot take a road team at this big of a favorite. Now, it's clear the market's saying we're begging for Detroit Red Wings money. Look, I'm not going to take the other side and say I'm smarter than the books here, but it's just I was shocked at the number. Like I not a pick 'em. I know it opened at a pick 'em and people hammered Winnipeg then. So
yeah,
but still, this is astonishing. This total is at 6.5. It's minus 117 to the under. It opened at minus 110 to the under. So this also was a pick 'em at 9 a.m. too at the total at 6.5. Jets coming off their second straight win 4-2 at home over the Blues. We talked about the bone situation with Judy, and the Red Wings come in off having their 5-game winning streak, snapped a 5-4 overtime loss at home to the Kraken on Tuesday. Dylan Larkin's been spectacular, 14 points in 7 games. DeBrincat right behind him, but we know he's day-to-day with an illness. Shane Gogster passed around the NHL, but he's gotten off to an excellent start in the season, and he can be useful if you can keep him, off the ice as much as possible on 5-5 and just use him on the power play. So Petrie day-to-day with an upper body injury. Take it away there for us. There's occupancy in the house and a great NHL capper. Take it away for us here. Gogster, Jets, Wings.
Yeah, I had to do a quick little regroup there with Reimer. I had Uso, but looking at Reimer, guys, he's been fine. 6-2 win against Calgary, 4-0 win against Columbus. I just made a late addition here. Actually, I was writing down as you're breaking that down, Jim. I think both teams here, especially defensively, Detroit's looked a lot better. Petrie could be questionable here, but no DeBrincat. You're missing offense. He's had the most amount of next, I think, Jack Hughes shots on net this year. He's just been all over the ice. So this is the chance to take advantage of Detroit, they're playing a lot better than I think anyone thought. I thought they'd be a lot better, Jim, but 5-1-1 right now and scoring so many goals. And DeBrincat's been a huge lift for them. But I think the Jets here, guys, on the money line. I'm going to take Jets money line, Jim, minus 110, and the no goal first 9 minutes here, plus 105.
Where did you get the minus 110?
Or sorry, that was earlier. I wrote this down at 3 a.m. Okay. So this is now going to be minus 125. That's pushing the envelope a bit. If anything, right now, guys, what I'm thinking is taking the Jets money line and like the under 6.5. That's kind of where I would be leaning towards. I'm going to get that right now for you guys. It's going to be Jets to win and the under. Wow.
There is a minus 119.
You know what? I think this is good here, Jim. I'm going to take Jets to win and the under 6.5 at plus 230. That's a juicy one right there. And I think that's got a good shot. So that's just Jets to win money line and the under 6.5 goals. That's going to be my play, Jim. Plus 230.
You got it locked in. Clint says, if you saw the DraftKings spreads link this morning, 80% of the money's on the Red Wings, and DraftKings is a very public book. Line moving to the Jets. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
Bad spot for Detroit, I think.
Yeah, Clint, it's clear. They want Red Wings money. It's clear, but I'm not going to take a team that's not a proven road team. I mean, especially with the young nucleus that the Jets have. Look, I drafted Cole Perfetti 13th round of the pool with 15 guys in it. So I kind of like the youth there, but to go on the road against a Red Wings team that had won 5 straight and just lost. Look, I get it. The Rick Bowness story, I get it all. I'm not interested in road favorites like that personally. So, but I will cheer all you guys on. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. San Jose. Oh shoot, here we go. San Jose Sharks at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sharks 0-5-1, 0-2-0 on the road. Lightning 3-2-2, 3-1 at home. Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Let's go into the line history here for this one. And we have, move over here. We have the Lightning at minus 284. Opened up at minus 280. Now at minus 284. Let's get into the total here for this one. Sitting at 6.5, minus 107 to the under. This opened up a minus 129 to the over. So we actually have a massive move to the under. A massive move to the under in San Jose, Tampa. And the Sharks power play at 15%, penalty killing 73.9%. They're poor. Tampa Bay power play at 33.3%, penalty killing at 94.1%. Sharks are winless to start the year. They come in off a 3-1 loss at Florida. They've scored 3 goals in their last 3 games. They missed Logan Couture and Michael Granlund up the middle badly. And I don't know why. Doug Wilson does not get more blame for this. I know that he had to leave because he was sick and that his health is doing better. And it's an undisclosed illness. So I guess, you don't want to speak ill of the dead. You don't want to speak ill of someone who's sick, but what a horrific job he did. Managed this franchise for 20 years and left them in complete disarray. And he just seems, and he's now says he's feeling better. He wants to come back to the franchise. Don't let him in. I don't care if his jersey's hanging from the rafters. He screwed you guys over. He's a terrible general manager, and he's just what? We don't rail on him. And you know what, Doug Wilson, you're a terrible general manager, and I hope you get better. Lightning come in off a 3-0 win over Carolina on Tuesday. Jonas Johansson got the shutout. Maybe he can build some confidence. I mean, there's a reason why all these teams, like we talk about trusting Joe Sakic, took flyers on this kid. Maybe he's not bad. And Nikita Kucherov off to yet another great start. 6 goals, 4 assists in 7 games. Take it away here for us, Mr. Gogster. We have Sharks, Lightning.
Yeah, Tampa Bay like these tall goaltenders, it seems like, Jim. Johannes 6'5". He's looked a lot better. I think he just needed a little more games. I was saying before, he's only had 9 starts in his career going into this season. He's been around for about 5 years, so he's finally actually getting some games under his belt, and he's looking a lot better. It was a bad spot for Carolina, though, against Tampa Bay on Tuesday. This spot, I would lean to the under. I have off. I'm not going to play this game, guys. Kakinen looks like he's going to be in net. He's been okay for the defense they got in front of him. Barbanov, too, looks like he might be out for this game, too. It's probably going to be a Tampa Bay win. I would be highly surprised if they're not going to win this game. Maybe Tampa Bay in the under would be something I would look at here, Jim, but I'm going to lay off. This could be a money line parlay. Just didn't make the card.
I think this is going to be a boring, comfortable win for Tampa.
Yes, because they just played Carolina, and they had so many overs, and it looked like they're playing their style of hockey. Stamkos is back to a couple games under his belt. So, I might add Tampa Bay in a money line parlay here. I'm just going to write it down, see if I like another game. But, I'd be surprised if they don't win this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real sleepy game.
You know what I'm thinking, Jim? When's San Jose going to win their first game? I knew this team was going to be bad, but they're bad guys. And I think
can somebody blame Doug Wilson, please?
Yeah, and it's been the last 5-6 years. They've done nothing. And their farm team's been just nothing too. So they've had nothing, nowhere to go. They play Carolina, Tampa Bay, Washington, Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Philly, Edmonton. Watch, that's when McDavid's going to come back. Vegas. Then they play the Ducks on November the 12th. Maybe that can be a win. I don't know when this team's going to get a win.
I am interested in the under, and I don't care that much that it's Kakinen. I really don't. I mean, yeah, you can like what Blackwood's doing, but let's just take a look at Kakinen's 2 games. And also, one thing that is real is when your goaltending partner starts playing well, so do you. He allowed 3 goals on 36 shots against the Bruins. He's been good, but he's played the Knights and the Bruins, and he's been fine. I'm going to move on the under 6.5. I think this market move is legit here. TJ says 5-on-5. These are the bottom 2 teams in expected goal differential. It's not like Tampa Bay's playing good hockey. He's on San Jose. Look, I respect that.
That helps.
I respect that, TJ, and those stats are legit at this point. Now the sample sizes we're getting to the right amount, and Sky Dragons on the under in San Jose first period money line. You know me, I love the Dogs on the first period, and it's just that the Lightning are getting hammered by their coach right now for the way that they're playing, and then they showed it against Carolina, and I don't know if they stay sharp here, but I certainly wouldn't be on anything with the Lightning at this number. It makes no sense at all. The under 6.5, I'm going to move on here. All right, let's move on. And you are off, maybe using it as a parlay piece. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Colorado Avalanche at Pittsburgh Penguins. These Avalanche 6-0, 4-0 on the road. They're looking very good at Pittsburgh Penguins, 2-4-0, 1-2-0 at home. PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If this defensive core stays healthy, I mean, they're just phenomenal. I mean, there's just no way around it. They're just going to be, it's all this defense core is just so good. I mean, I can't, I've had old hockey heads tell me, and I mentioned this before on the show, but like look me in the eyes and say, Cale Makar is the best defenseman since Bobby Orr. Like, as if and I believe them. And then it's not just Makar. You have Taves, and you have Girard, and you have Byram, and Girard and Byram and Makar are so young. I mean, it's just, God, you're very lucky to be a Colorado Avalanche fan. Avalanche, say what, my man?
Go Sakic.
We're going to be Joe. 28.6% power play, 92.6% penalty killing. Pittsburgh's power play is at 12.5%, and I like it. I really do like it. I like it a lot. I want them to lose. I want Dubas to lose. Me too. It all brings me joy. Pittsburgh 12.5% power play, and they bring in Carlson. That makes me very happy. 82. Nothing makes me as happy as when the Calgary Flames lose. Let me be honest there. And watching them, taking them not make playoffs plus 130 is just an absolute joy. But Pittsburgh's lost 3 straight here. And back to Makar, though. Makar, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points, plus 7 through 6 games. I mean, we saw Carlson. I mean, what he's a. So I did, I'm trying not to, we have so much work to do, and I'm trying not to take too much time on these games, but I like it. I enjoy it so much, and I apologize for the people who are waiting for other sports. And I can't help it when I'm capping, though. I go through Carlson's hockey DB, and I'm like, look, he's a minus 73 over his last 4 seasons. And yes, he was on a bad hockey team, but he's just such a bad defensive defenseman. And, Makar could score 100 points and be plus 60, not 100 points and be minus 35.
He's kind of lazy, man. He's kind of lazy, Carlson. I hate to say it. I think he's kind of lazy.
Well, let's go into the line history here. In saying all this, I mean, when are the Avalanche going to let one go? This totals at 6.5. It's juiced to the over at minus 120. It opened up at minus 112 to the over. The first initial move was towards the under. From a money line perspective, we have the Avs at minus 137. They got, they weren't really being bet that hard. And with the way they're playing, I remember it was the first thing that jumped out at me was taking Colorado here to beat Pittsburgh. But is that because of my dislike of Pittsburgh? I don't know. Pittsburgh's lost 3 straight. You see why Rutherford left. I don't know why they would keep this nucleus together. I don't know why you can't move on. You can't. It's been 7 years since you won the Cup. 7 years, man. And what's Dubas going to do? He loves it. He brings in Carlson. He's going to sign Joe Thornton. The fuck is he going to do, man? He should come to work dressed as a little boy, because he's just a little fanboy
with a clown nose on him.
I was thinking one of those hats that spins around like that or whatever. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Avalanche, Penguins.
Yeah, this Pittsburgh team, they're not the team I thought they were going to be to start the year either. I've tried to take them against Chicago. They lost. I tried to take them against that Dallas game there, Jim. I had draw first period, then they score in 40 seconds into the last 40 seconds of the first. They lose the game 4-1. They've been up in the first period. They can't close games out. And Yari, what the hell did Yari do to deserve that contract extension that he got? I'm telling you, I don't know what this Pittsburgh team and all these signings they're doing, but it's kind of questionable to say the least. I want to take Colorado. Georgiev's, he struggled actually. I have here, Jimmy, in his career against Pittsburgh. You have a desperate Pittsburgh team. I don't know what to do with this game. I would think this line should be higher for Colorado. I wanted to say,
yeah, definitely.
Why isn't this minus 150, 155 with the way Pittsburgh's playing and how good Georgiev's been? The only thing I could maybe see here is Georgiev going to go. He's played a lot of hockey. He's been the best top 3 goalie in the league right now. But waiting on confirmation, because that's maybe they're thinking maybe Georgiev's not going to go. Maybe
And Pittsburgh plays up or down to the level of their competition. I mean, when you have I love Sidney Crosby. Like, don't get my disgust for the Penguins wrong. I love Crosby. He's the best plugger in the history of the game, and he demands accountability. And now you have the Avalanche coming in. I mean, TJ saying Pitt is yet to lose a first period money line.
Yeah, it's Georgiev. It's just like Boston. I think Boston and Colorado are East and West top teams in both conferences. Just goaltending, Allmark and Georgiev. I think Georgiev, he's the real deal. I hope Shesterkin. If you look at the numbers right now, it's early, but Georgiev's looking a lot better than Shesterkin. Both teams have really good defense, both playoff teams, but Georgiev, guys, don't sleep on him.
I think that the under is within reason. Pittsburgh's got to know that they got to keep everything so tight and get their power play going.
They haven't looked that good. They've allowed 4, 6. They haven't looked that good against Detroit, St. Louis, and Dallas. It's not going to be an easy game, but I got nothing, Jim.
Yeah, I'm going to have to move past this one. Kelly McInnes laughing. He says, I live in Calgary, bet against him. Usually don't bet with the heart. Colorado -1.5, 3-1. Says Pitt's getting along in the tooth. And Kelly McInnes, I used to spend 4 months a year in Calgary at the Blackfoot Inn when I was first 8 years as a comic. All the money, all the gigs were out there. All corporate season would be in Alberta. It was too expensive to go back to Vancouver, so I just sit up at the Blackfoot Inn for a long time. And Calgary was always good to me. And I like the city, and I have a lot of friends there. It's just I want their hockey team to lose. That's all. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Kraken 2-4-1, 1-2-1 on the road at Carolina Hurricanes 3-4-0, 1-0-0 at home. We're at PNC Arena, Raleigh, North Carolina. And our guy Billy Friedrich will be at his first game of the year tonight. What a beauty game it's going to be. You got Grubauer versus Frederick Anderson. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Carolina at -199. They opened up at -186, and I get it, and I agree with it, but it's a tough bet at this point, at this number. But this team, the totals also opened up at 6.5 and moved to 6 in 2 minutes. God, I would love to have the under 6.5. I guess you could sort of get it there juiced because it's a +105 to the under. Kelly McInnes, though, says over easy here, over easy. And Billy Friedrich says Orlov's -11. And that's not going to continue, I don't think. I mean, he's just too good, isn't he? D'Angelo -6, Bunting -3, Lemieux -1. All new additions or re-additions for the Canes. Says, look at these bums. Kelly McInnes says go over. And part of the reason why is this penalty killing is falling apart, and Frederick Anderson doesn't look good. Seattle power play is good, 21.7%. I believe they're better than that indicates because Beniers is off to this horrific start. He's 3 assists on the year. He's a -8 through 7 games. Carolina, 23.5% power play, 68.8% penalty killing. I mean, that's not normal.
60. I had 88. I had 88.
Maybe I wrote it in wrong.
I think that's 88, Jim.
Okay, that's very possible.
Yeah,
it's very, very possible. It was long night.
6s in the 8s. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so but that's very crucial. Is that facts? Can you double check that right now?
Yeah, the NHL website was just crashed there for a sec. I'll look that up first.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so but the thing about this Carolina team is they come off 3 straight losses. They just lost 3-0 at Tampa on Tuesday. And I'm telling you, Rod Brindamore will not accept that. He just oh shoot, I haven't changed sorry. He will not accept that under any circumstances. So, and look, Pesci's out. That's a huge loss. Billy Friedrich says Kochetkov was sent to AHL Syracuse, so it looks like Anderson will be starting first game back from that puck between the eyes. I want Carolina.
Oh, yeah, just one thing, 68% is correct. And also Carolina, they don't have that farm team.
Okay, good.
They don't have that farm team. Our guy in the chat just said, so that means Syracuse, Tampa Bay's farm team are taking loan players for Carolina, so they're still getting some action. So that's another thing with Carolina, Jim. They don't have a farm team. Chicago's independent this year in the AHL. So I'm going to look out for Syracuse just to see what's coming down the wire there. If Carolina players are going to be going there, what the agreement's been. But yeah, just something to bring up.
Yeah, that's important. But look, Carolina's going to win this hockey game.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to bite the bullet and take the -1 because Rod Brindamore is tough as nails. This team's lost 3 straight. They're better than that. I have no futures on them or anything like that, but they're better than that. Eric Jones in the house. What up, Eric? So I'm going to bet the Hurricanes -1 as soon as the show's over. There we go. Gogster, your thoughts? Grubauer, Anderson, Seattle, Carolina.
Couldn't agree anymore, Jimmy. Anderson's the only question mark. Grubauer, though, when he's faced this team for Seattle, with Seattle, he's 1-3. He's 0-2 on the road too. So it's a bad spot for Seattle, in my opinion. Carolina, they got Aho. They got a couple other players finally back here. They were hurt. They still don't have those Svechnikov, Suzuki, and Pesci. Other than that, they're good to go. And that was 68%. I think that's going to only improve, though. That's not something I think that's going to stay stable at 68%. I could see it going up to like 88 in the high 80s for Carolina. Looking at this spot here, I wanted to take Carolina money line in the over 4.5, but what I'm going to do, guys, is just take Carolina regulation, Jimmy, at -115. Just make sure that number's still valid here. But yeah, I'm going to take Carolina. I don't see them losing this game, guys. If you look at Seattle too, Jim, they've allowed just as many goals as Carolina has. They won 5-4 against Detroit, lost 4-1 to the Rangers, won 7-4, still allowing goals to Carolina. That was back on October 19th. And then 4-1 loss against Colorado. There's a revenge spot too here for Carolina. Another question is, was Aho in that game? That's when Aho was hurt too. So they got Aho back. I feel pretty confident in this one. I'm taking Carolina. Actually, you know what, Jim? I'd feel more confident or comfortable taking your -1, just in case it does go to overtime and I don't get screwed from the regulation. That's happened before. So I'll jump on the -1 with you, buddy.
Okay, well, let's see what that is right now. If it's better than what Bet365 was offering, a -124, and I'd like to answer what I think, from TJ's, what TJ's thoughts are right here, because it's important. It's very important, and not to talk anybody off anything. Well, you're getting better at Bet365 at -190, -124. -124. That's with the -1 calculator. So here, this is the situation for me, TJ. Numbers wise. 7 games into the season, yes, the Hurricanes are no better than the Kraken.
Look at the schedule they had to play, though.
But I agree with you. And this is a spot where I put a line through those numbers. Rod Brind'Amour is the most intense coach in the league. He's tougher than everybody in that dressing room, tougher than them all. And he's going to demand them to step up in front of their home fans and not play like a bunch of bitches. He's just, and this team is going to step up. And we talked about, the injury issues, that they were dealing with on that road trip. Remember, we faded Carolina in Seattle. That was Seattle's first win. And
yes.
Aho wasn't there either. There was no Sebastian Aho. In this case, I do not believe in what the numbers will tell us in the first 7 games of the Hurricanes. And if you are saying that the numbers are the only way that we can make gambling decisions, then you should stick with that. And that's totally valid. Everybody caps differently, and that is totally valid thought process. But it's not the way I cap, and it's not the way, we played hot, 7 games into the year and you're just getting off to a bad start. The numbers just aren't, the sample size is too small to say that at the Hurricanes at home, off of 3 games losing in a row, off of getting shut out by the Lightning, a rival, aren't going to, play their best game of the season here. That's all.
Yeah. And it is going to be a back-to-back I'm seeing here too for Carolina. It doesn't worry me too much at all here. The spot too with Carolina, they had 6 road games. Jesus. 6. They had 1 home game against Ottawa, 1-5-3, 6 road games. They should have been better, but it was a tough spot. And I agree with everything you're saying there, Jimmy, too. And it's a veteran hockey team coming back home after getting embarrassed, especially 3-0 against Tampa Bay. I would even maybe think of a Seattle team total under possibly here. Not going to play it, but yeah, Carolina. I agree.
With the goaltending at this point from Carolina, I just want them to win the game.
Yes.
Let's roll on. And this is fun. I love having you in the chat, TJ, and I love the analytics. So I love all of this. It's so much fun. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, we have the Minnesota Wild against the Philadelphia Flyers. These Wild 3-2-1, 1-1-0 on the road. Philadelphia Flyers 3-2-1, 2-0 home. Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've got Marc-Andre Fleury listed. He's been really bad so far this year. I'm not sure if he.
I had Gustafsson. I'll try and confirm.
Okay, no, that would make sense. I would, keep Fleury as a moral support without his helmet on. Carter Hart, 3-2-0, 2.21 goals against average, 923 save percentage, one shot. He's been excellent. Minnesota, 17.4% power play, 79% penalty killing. And Philadelphia, and Gustafson is confirmed. Thank you, Billy. Philadelphia power play at 5%, penalty killing 85%. And that's perfect. If they can keep those numbers, I mean, they won't. Their power play is going to go up a little bit, but then you're getting predictability from the Flyers. And it's going to give you unders at home where they're going to outwork the opponent. And so I really like that. I really, really like that. And then the problem here is the Wild's injuries. You have a Minnesota Wild team that's really beaten up. Like, you need Jared Spurgeon. He's the heart and soul of this team. So you need him defensively. And then you need Matt Boldy because they don't have depth. So you take Matt Boldy out for offensive firepower depth, and you take Freddie Goodrow out, and then Goligoski, who you can take or leave, but you don't have Spurgeon, their captain. So they're a beaten up hockey team. So here we go. Red Girl coming off a huge night. I love it. And TJ says I got Philadelphia plus 115. It's my favorite bet today. So let's take a look at the line history here because I think I'd like to get involved in this game. And this total is at 6, minus 108 to the under. This opened up at minus 118 to the under. We've had to move towards the over. That interests me. And honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. Philadelphia's got a plus 103 money line. I love that TJ got it up. He got plus 115, and Rich H has it at plus 105. And Sky Dragon says the Flyers just went from the dumbest road trip, 2 games at Dallas and Vegas, now back home. Yeah, that's not easy at all. Not easy at all. But they were on, and that was Tuesday night, right? For the frenzy. That's tough. Very, very tough. That's an important point too.
Another thing, it was at 11 o'clock at night Eastern time. So
wow,
that was a late one for them.
That might end up. Because I want the under in Flyers games, especially at home.
I think it could be an under.
But I want them to be rested and ready to defend. Wow. Okay. Nate Dogg leaning on the over 6 in the Seattle game. But here, so let's discuss this spot. Wild snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 7-4 win at home versus the Oilers. Their offense looks great to start the year, but Joel Eriksson-Ek is so good. Him and Chandler Stevenson, the way they're playing. The Vegas and Minnesota are so lucky to have them. Zuccarello and Kaprizov also have 9 points, but injuries have really hurt this team. And the Flyers got off to a strong start. Travis Konechny, 5 goals, 2 assists, and it helps to have Couturier back, but they're missing Rasmus Ristolainen and Mark Stahl. Why don't you take it away and I'll sit here for a little longer. Do we really think that even against the Flyers that Minnesota is just going to play this high-octane offense? Take it away, Gogster.
I don't know if they're going to play the high octane offense, but I think they're going to get back to their winning ways like they were. Like they beat Vancouver at home, beat Edmonton at home, and you got the same situation. Actually, not a situation. Edmonton was healthy there, but Minnesota's just not healthy, man. I think that's too much, especially going on the road. And then looking at Gustafson, his numbers: 3.95 goals against, 0.898 save percentage so far. Hart's been a lot better. He's been just super. He's a top 10 goalie. Maybe even getting better as the games go on. I know they lost that game to Vegas, but I think they get back to their winning ways here. I lean to the under, but I'm taking actually plus 118. I was looking at last night. It's now plus 105. I found there, Jimmy, on Philadelphia. So I'll take Philly, full game money line, guys, plus 105. I know there's no Stahl and Ristolainen. When Ristolainen comes back, his team's going to be even better. And they're finally healthy offensively, Jimmy. We know this team's been injured, every single year. They're like the Chargers of the NFL, just with injuries of the past. So no offense to any Charger fan. But I like Philly here, Jim.
The Wild first game of the year at home versus Florida was 2-0. Since then, every game's gone over. 11 goals, 7 goals, 10 goals, 9 goals, 11 goals.
Exactly. And look what Florida was in that game, man. We knew they were going to be bad. They're missing their 2 defensemen coming in. First game of the year is an awful spot for Florida. I think Minnesota's not as good as we think right now. And Gustafson, we'll see what he does here. But I think Philadelphia, I think they're a much improved hockey team, especially if they can stay healthy. And you got Carter Hart playing like he did when he came into the league. So Philly money line.
I want the under. And I think I'm going to bet it. Because I imagine that the Flyers and at home will start giving them back 5.5s again. And you look at all of these numbers and you say, well, the Wild this and the Wild that, but who is going to dictate the pace of this hockey game? And it's not the Wild. So now I could be wrong here, and I feel like I'm trying to catch a falling knife. So I'm gonna put a couple question marks beside it, and this one is not. The other ones are going to be better. This one's a little flimsier. Gogster's moved on the Flyers plus 105. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We got to roll here. We have so much to get through today.
We'll pick up the pace, as Pete says.
Thank you. Yes, we'll pick up the pace. Ottawa Senators 3-3-0, 0-1-0 on the road. New York Islanders 2-2-1, 2-1-1 at home. We're at UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Eunice Korpisalo going up against Ilya Sorokin. Korpisalo 1-2-0. Let me know if these are wrong as well.
That's what I got.
And TJ says, if you want the under, take Philadelphia money line at plus money instead. I said that I wanted to back the Flyers at home as much as possible, but not leaving Vegas late Tuesday night and coming back. That's so, okay. But Korpisalo, Sorokin, Ottawa, 22.2% power play, 73.9% penalty killing. The Islanders, 12.5% power play. I love Noah Dobson, and I love Barzal, but it's just not. They're going to have a weak power play. If you think that Horvat's going to change any of that, it's nuts. But 68.8% penalty killing is a surprise. Both teams have looked so bad defensively of late. Islanders are similar to the Flyers, not quite as confident, but where you want unders at home. And this Islanders have gone from minus 118 to minus 121. I mean, they've taken almost no money. From a total side of things here, we're dealing with a 6.5 minus 117 to the under. And BetChris moved it to 6. Oh, it just moved to 6.5. That's interesting. Okay, Pinnacle just moved it to 6.5. So those of you who took the over 6 probably feel pretty good about yourselves. But I've got a bias here that I can't get rid of the Islanders going to play defensive type hockey. Ottawa comes in off its second straight loss, 6-4 at home versus Sabres on Tuesday. They've allowed 11 goals in their last 2 games. Great to see Josh Norris back. I wanted to see Josh Norris back. I might even have interest in the Senators' futures at some point, even though their defense and has got to step up, and Korpisalo's got to step up. The Islanders coming up their third straight loss, 7-4 at home to Colorado. They've allowed 15 goals over the past 3 games after allowing 2 in their first 2. I wish I could take the under. I wish. But I can't do it with these Senators games. And
I agree.
Let me hear your breakdown.
I agree with Ottawa, Jim. I think they're an over hockey team until otherwise. Korpisalo's been not the inconsistent to start the season. They had what's his name there? Their backup. He went in for 2 periods, got pulled in the 3rd period, so he hasn't been good. Now they got the issues with old Pinto. He's not going to be playing. They really screwed that up. Zub's out. Mayfield's going to be out for the Islanders at least day to day. I got question marks all over the place here, Jimmy. I don't know what to do with this game. Sorokin hasn't looked as good as he should, but he's at home, and that's where you want to back Sorokin and the Islanders, I think, is at home. I don't know. This is a no play. I usually like taking Ottawa games, guys, but there's a lot up in the air with this one, so I got nothing on this game. Lean to the Islanders.
Too much up in the air here. But the Islanders are another squad that now it's different against Ottawa. Remember that it's different at UBS than it was in the sleepy Brooklyn arena, but it's the Western Conference teams that you want to fade against the Islanders. The Eastern Conference is just not the same deal. TJ says he's got Ottawa bouncing back on the card today. Expected goals for both 5-on-5 and all situations scream Ottawa. Yeah. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Maple Leafs at Dallas Stars. Leafs 4-2-0, 2-1-0 on the road. Stars 4-0-1, 2-0-0 at home at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Ilya Samsonov and Jake Ottinger I have listed. Samsonov's been atrocious, and Joseph Wall looked so good on Tuesday. Is it possible that they go back to Wall again?
I think they're going to give Samsonov the start. It's a tough spot because he hasn't had many starts and he hasn't looked that good. Now you got a Dallas team that's playing really well. I think he's going, but I don't think it's a good thing for Toronto.
Well, Wall's going to be a good thing for Toronto. Toronto power play at 35%, penalty killing at 75%. Dallas is, one thing I've been thinking about trying to figure out this Stars team, and that thank God they have Pavelski. But having all these veterans that I've always thought were questionable, Seguin, I've always thought was questionable, and Duchesne even more questionable. And then Ben, he stepped up last year and started showing more leadership, and maybe they're all sort of making each other work harder and be more accountable. Maybe their penalty killings at 100%. Ottinger is a 952 save percentage. They come in off their third straight win. They look very good at times. And the thing about Dallas is, remember when they played Anaheim, we had the Ducks first period of plus 170 and they were leaving Vegas. I really think that Dallas could be very predictable. And this is the test sort of. And I don't even know if I want to bet the test yet, but I think that Dallas will play up and play very good against the best teams in the league. And I think that these vets will be not as locked in against the worst teams in the league. That's what I think. I think they won't look good against the worst teams in the league. So, in this spot, my initial thought was, I want to back the Leafs here, but I can't do that without Wall. This total opened up at 6 at Pinnacle, and it looked like it was moving towards the under. It's come back and just stayed sort of where it started. And, I really would like to, I can't fade Toronto. I just can't do it there. Matthews and Marner and Nylander are just too electric. I don't want to. Now, also, I don't want to fade Dallas at home. I find this very difficult. If I was just giving out picks, I could say, yeah, I like Dallas to step up against the Leafs, but do I really want to bet against when the best player on the ice and the players on the ice, they're not in a Dallas Stars uniform. I don't care how many points Robertson scored last year. I don't care how good Rupi Hintz looks at times. It's Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and Nylander. They're the best players on the ice. And maybe the Stars are a better team than the Leafs, thanks to, goaltending, especially if it's Samsonov in that. But this one makes me uncomfortable, and I wanted to be involved in it. Take it away, Gogster.
Yeah, this is everything you're saying. I'm agreeing with again, Jim. I don't know what to do with this game. It's a coin flip. And I agree with the sense that they're going to get up for these stronger teams. I think just Dallas wants to get to the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to have home ice advantage more likely than not. Next to Vegas, Colorado, Dallas. Those are your top three teams so far. And unless there's injuries, I don't see it changing really. I don't know what to do with this game. Both teams have scored, 1-2 games, look good doing it too. Toronto against Tampa, Washington on the road. This is Toronto's fourth road game. So I kind of lean to the under. I don't know though. There could be goals too. It's a tough call. I got nothing on this game, just like the Ottawa Islander game. I stay away. And the Lions, split right down the middle pretty much. So I'm off.
Yeah. And I don't want to, the over I get, but you cannot fight fire with the Leafs. You have to hem them in. You have to cycle down low. You have to tire out Matthews and Marner and Nylander. You have to focus on the man advantage where the power play. You can't let them on the power play. You have to play so tight, and everybody gets up to play the Leafs. So
I think it might be an under. It might be an under. It might be an under, and I lean towards Dallas. That's about all I got here, Jim.
All right, let's move on. I'm sorry, it's such a big game, and TJ says I want to bet it because it's number one watch tonight. Let's move on. Next up, 9 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis Blues at Calgary Flames. Blues 2-2-1-0, 1-1 on the road. Flames 2-4-1, 1-1-0 at home. Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary, Alberta. Jordan Binnington, 1.69 goals against average, 945 save percentage to start the year. And Markstrom, just so happy that he's in the Flames uniform for a big contract. And this makes me very, very pleased. He's just going to be a weight around the neck of the Flames. Sky Dragon says Toronto and over. Says, for all that work Jimmy's describing Dallas has to do to win the game, how do you not just take Toronto as a dog? That was my first thought, was to take Toronto as a dog. It was my very first thought, to take Toronto as a dog. But do I really want to have my money and see Samsonov in goal? Do I really want to see the shots 20-11 for the Leafs and the Stars up 1-0? I mean, can I handle that? It's all about what can you handle. I can't handle that. It'll just fill me with rage.
I think this is a good chance for Samsonov. This is a huge game for Samsonov. He knows Wall is right on his knocking on the door. This is a huge game for Samsonov. So I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And like you're saying, not fighting fire with fire, maybe first period under 1.5. It's just, there's a lot of ifs in this game. So yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on to St. Louis, Calgary here. Blues, Flames, Scotiabank, Saddledome, Calgary, Alberta. Jordan Binnington, Jacob Markstrom, and Markstrom's been bad. St. Louis power play has been abysmal. St. Louis offense has been abysmal. St. Louis power play at 6.7% and their penalty killing 71.4%. You know, it's funny that St. Louis is so bad and that they couldn't put together a group of forwards with Colton Parayko and Krug and a defense that I think has got a lot of quality with Falk and Calgary power play at 12.5%. This is exactly what I said was going to happen to the Flames. Exactly. 2-4-1 out of the gate, 12.5% power play, 88.9% penalty killing. They're an unders gift here. I don't know about here. We'll discuss that. But in general, they're just going to cash unders. They're sitting here at Pinnacle at minus 166. That's far worse than anywhere else. They opened up at minus 185. There's still a lot of minus 180s, minus 185s, but Pinnacle's moving very quickly towards the St. Louis Blues, and I get it. From a total standpoint here, we are sitting at 6. It's plus money to the under. There's been a 6-cent move towards the over here. The Blues coming off a 4-2 loss at the Jets, their second loss in 3 games. They're just not scoring. And I don't like, Brandon Saad's the only Blue with more than 1 goal this year. Flames have lost 3 straight. And I just love that this franchise is back to being bad again. They've scored 4 goals in their last 3 games. Get used to that. So why don't we bet the under here? Why don't we bet the under 6 here? Take it away for now. Why would they be? What am I missing? Why wouldn't this be juiced to the under 6? Take it away, Gogster.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's some crazy, crazy trends here for this game, Jimmy. The first period, the last 7 times these teams have played, first period's gone over 1.5, and it hasn't even been close. Like there's been 4 goals.
We got it's Wedgwood. It's not Ottinger. Wedgwood's confirmed for Dallas.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
Why would they be doing that?
Wow. That's even more of a coin. I don't know what to do with that game because I was leaning Dallas, but now I for sure probably not leaning Dallas. But St. Louis and Calgary, guys, it's just there's been a heavy overtrend, especially in the first period here. You have a desperate Calgary team, but you have no Anderson, defenseman. He got suspended. They lost Jakob Peltier, a young guy there who was really good in the playoffs for them. Ruzinka, he looks like he's out. And you got a completely healthy team in St. Louis finally. Buchnevich is back on the second line with Shen and Kapanen. So I think this line is, I don't know why. Why is Calgary minus 166? This is the head scratcher of the day, more so than I think the Colorado game even. Like I don't see why St. Louis should be this big of an underdog here. Binnington's been a much better goalie too, Jimmy. .938 save percentage. Goals saved above expected has been 5. Markstrom's been just cheeks. He's been awful. It's, you know what, at this number, I want to take the first period over. That's where I would look in this game, guys. But I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to take St. Louis on the money line, Jim. I really am. I don't think this is the time Calgary's playing their best hockey, and I think this healthy St. Louis team and this number is just it's too much. You shouldn't be given St. Louis. It's all the way down to plus 135 now. Did it drop there, Jim? I'm going to take plus 135. I'm seeing here at Caesars on St. Louis. It was plus 165 I had here at the overnight. So heavy money, I guess, came in on St. Louis, which makes sense. In my opinion, I think St. Louis get this one done. Just based on the number, I think this should be like a minus 135, maybe Calgary, minus 120, 130. Like it shouldn't be as high as it is. So it's kind of the lines kind of making me bet this too.
All right, Gogster's on the what?
I'm on the St. Louis money line plus 135.
I think I'm going to move on the under in this one. I want these unders with the Flames at home. Nasty Nate says, can't wait to get drunk with Raw Dog and holla hose in the Southtown 101. Not far from now. Okay, we got to keep rolling. Our final game in NHL. Okay, there we go. Our final game in NHL. Here we go. New York Rangers at Edmonton Oilers. Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. Now we get to see what kind of player Draisaitl really is. And I know he's spectacular and great and all this, but now let's see. Now there's no McDavid. Now all the pressure's on you. Now let's see. I'm very, very interested. Shesterkin 3-2-0, 2.66 goals against, average 897 save percentage. The goalies in Edmonton are getting just hammered right now. Absolutely hammered. And look at that. Look at that.
Plus
Wow.
160, yeah.
Joey is confirmed in net for the Kraken.
Joey Decord.
Oh, I haven't even bet that. God damn it. I haven't bet it yet. God, he says bet those Canes now. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll figure out. Fuck.
You know what? I actually liked fading Grubauer there. Decord, he's a young goalie. He's got a lot to prove still. Belva got rid of him. But I liked fading Grubauer maybe, I don't know if more, but that's kind of part of the reason why I like Carolina.
DG says, well, the offense has scored 4 against Minnesota, but the pathetic defense gave up 7. This is a team that's falling apart right now, and the Rangers are all business. They've come into this road trip all business. Open with a 4-1 win at Seattle, followed that with a 3-1 win at Calgary. Zibanejad has yet to score this year. There are still some problems here. Kreider has 5 goals, but you got to get Mika in, and they're a healthy group. The Oilers are frustrated, 3 straight losses, and let's take a look and see what the numbers are. This total is at 6 minus 103 to the under. The Rangers are playing under hockey right now, even though you might look at the roster and say they're not an under team. And then the Rangers are only minus 130, only minus 130. They opened up minus 126. They're now minus 130. And, I would get nervous. I would be like, oh, this is a public spot. This is a public spot. But I also want to put my foot on the throat of a hockey team that's down and hurting. And the Rangers are all business. All business. So I'm taking the Rangers on the -1 line, and I don't care. I don't care what's going on with, McDavid not there to help everyone. It's, Kane bitching. The goaltending is atrocious. And they're 1-4-1, and we want them to go 1-9-1. If anybody wants a little flyer on the Oilers, well, that's when you want it. And TJ said, I would think the public would be taking Edmonton. I don't think so. I mean, I really don't think so with McDavid out. Why? I mean, who's going to want the Oilers here? Sorry, damn, that's the total. Let me just quickly look at the money here, even though I'm trying not to do that in NHL. Our final game here, we have 65% of tickets and 96% of cash on the Oilers. On the Rangers. Excuse me, on the Rangers. Okay, I'm going to move on the Rangers -1. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Final game on the board.
Seems like a no-brainer, actually, with the Rangers here, Jimmy. I don't know how you take Edmonton. This team's one of the best defensively, and now they're missing their top weapon with McDavid. Edmonton. They got goaltender issues. This team allows the least amount of shots. The Rangers. I just don't know why the line's not higher again. Maybe don't overthink it. I'm thinking of maybe taking like a New York Rangers money line and then another under 6.5 here at some juicy odds. I might tweet it out after the show here, guys, but as of now, I'm not going to do that. But that's where I would look here, an under with the Rangers game here and the Rangers on the money line. Just not going to overthink it here, especially with a defensive team and the Rangers that'll look this good. And there's no McDavid. And I think with Draisaitl, Jimmy, he's great and all, but they need someone else that's going to, you can't replace McDavid, I guess you could just say. He's impossible to replace. So it's tough for them to adjust, I think. And this is not the team to make that adjustment with.
And Matthew Green is a really good point. And this is what makes it so much fun. Now, the first one I don't agree with Rangers being inconsistent because they're different on the road. Madison Square Garden, you can say they're inconsistent. I would agree completely. They're big favorites, and they're not to be backed. They go on a road trip, and they're all business, especially in Canada. I mean, what are they going to do in Edmonton, last night? And then he says square money on the Rangers. That's totally fair. I mean, only 65% of the tickets, but sure. And says Edmonton are going to put a very good effort here. Edmonton desperate. So is Edmonton a team full of heart that's going to step up here? I mean, that's the question you have to ask yourself as a capper. And Matthew Green could easily be right. But I will very comfortably here be with the public and the squares and put my foot down on the throat of a hockey team that has problems in every facet of their game right now, personally. So yeah, I'm on the Rangers -1. What are you going to do here?
It's going to be a no play, but they need a goaltender to step up too on top of all this. None of their goalies have stepped up either, and it's just I'm going to lay off at Jim, but I'm going to root home your Ranger player.
Thank you. All right. So let's review all action in NHL. We're going to get into NFL next. And then we have NBA and then Dabra Cadabra joining us for college football. I should let Dabby know that we are running late. I will do that here in a second. But let's roll here in NHL today. We have Gogster on the Bruins money line in the under 6.5 at plus 125. Ron Crawford on spreadsheet play today. Boston minus 1.5. I'll be very curious to see what a 6-0 Boston team that's only allowed 7 goals comes home from a road trip and has their first home game and how sharp they're going to be. In no way do I want the Ducks, but I'm also not going to be on the under 6. Gogster is on Columbus. Gogster's on Columbus first period and full game money line, and I'm going to be on Columbus as well. Gogster's on the Jets to win and the under 6.5 at plus 230. I'm going to be on the under 6.5 in San Jose, Tampa. Colorado, Pittsburgh, no action. I'm going to be on the Hurricanes -1. Gogster's already got that at minus 124. Has that changed here? It is not. Okay, so I'm going to be on the Hurricanes -1. I'm very interested in the under in Minnesota, Philadelphia, and I think I'm going to bet it. Gogster's on the Flyers plus 105. Senators, Islanders, we stayed off. Leafs, Stars, we stayed off. Gogster is on the Blues, Flames at plus 135. I will be on the under there, and I'll be on the Rangers -1. That is our NHL breakdown for today. Thank you guys for rolling with us and sticking around for that huge, long breakdown. Let's move on to NFL, a spot I'm very confident in. And we'll start. Let's just set everything up here. I've got 2 bets on this game. Buccaneers 3-3, 2-0 on the road at the Buffalo Bills, 4-3, 3-1 at home. We're at Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, 66 Fahrenheit, 12 miles per hour. The injuries here, the main one, the Buccaneers have their guard, Matt Filer, out with knee injury. Kayvon Merriweather, their safety, a safety for them, out with an ankle injury. And then you have Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield questionable. And Godwin was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. There's no concerns there. And Mayfield's talked about his knee injury, says it's just pain tolerance. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. So I have no concerns in either of those 2 spots. Vita Vea, I don't know. He didn't practice all week. Obviously, you want him out there. But I'm on overs, so it doesn't matter as much to me. And then for the Bills, we know that Knox is going to be gone. Dawson Knox, wrist injury, he's out. And then Ed Oliver now is questionable, and he's very important. Ed Oliver being questionable is very, very important. So let's get into the line history here for this one and the cash flow. Here we go. So, let me move over here. And then I'll discuss. I don't remember. And again, Peter Loshak would talk about how his A plays, are okay, but his B plays have a much higher ROI. So just having confidence does not necessarily equate to cashing anything here. But I'm extremely confident in my action. Now, this has moved to 10 at Pinnacle. It's moved to 10. This opened up at 8. The 10 is minus 114 towards the Buccaneers. So obviously Buffalo is an angry football team, and I'm in a contest where in a pool where I have to pick every game on the side. And I've got Tampa right now at 8.5. And now if it's at 10, I think that might be a mistake. The total is now at 44. This opened up at 42.5. It dropped down to 41.5. On Tuesday, I got in on the over 42. With confidence. But I also got in on the Buccaneers team total over 16.5. And that's funny because as the total's been going up, the Buccaneers team total didn't move up as fast as I thought. And that's because the Bills have become bigger favorites as it's gone on. And I bet it at 365. So it right now, the over 16.5 is only minus 115. I got it with no VIG. I got the over 16.5 at plus 100. I was very confident that would go to over 17.5, and it hasn't. From a side perspective, 76% of tickets and 70% of cash are on the Buffalo Bills. And from a total perspective, 62% of tickets and 60% of cash is on the over. So, and let me copy and paste this from Kadesh says, any concerns on Allen's shoulder? he was a full participant every day at practice. At this time of year, it's just going to be a pain tolerance thing consistently. So, Josh Allen's not my concern. And now you wanted to be able to run. You want to be able to leave the pocket and get you a first down. At times it's very necessary. But for me, this is all about what I see from the Bills defense in that 29-25 loss at New England. With the Patriots missing these key players, that Belichick will get them better. And there'll never be like a really good defense without Matthew Judon. And will the Bills defense ever be good without Matt Milano? I mean, you lose Tre'Davious White for the year. You lose Matt Milano and Daquan Jones long term. You have Ed Oliver dealing with a toe injury and Jordan Phillips with a back injury. And, the third down defense for the Bills now 23rd in the league. They're allowing conversions 42.1% of the time. They got no pressure on the Patriots. They allowed a Patriots team that had scored 20 points in their previous 3 games to score 29 and put up 364 yards. 364 yards.
Jesus.
So, look, the Buccaneers offense is not good. Is it better than the Patriots offense? Yes. Maybe not by much.
More weapons.
But it's better. Now, the Patriots at home and the Buccaneers are at Orchard Park. That's a big difference, and I get that. But it's warm up here right now. Warm and perfect. Like, the weather's amazing up here. The Buccaneers coming off that ugly 16-13 home loss. They're a very predictable team. Now, you could say that we'll start with their offense. In the red zone, they're 28th in the league. 37.5% of their red zone opportunities they're converting. But the Bills' defense is real, and injuries are real. And Mike Evans and Godwin, I trust. Now, Rachaad White is struggling running the ball, and that makes him a real one-dimensional offense, and that's a problem. And the Falcons move the ball with ease. Birdie is, thinking that the Falcons this week are going to score 30-plus points. And I had the guy in the chat slam me saying, I don't watch the Falcons play football if I don't think he's saying they're going to score, at least 27 points or something like that. And, but what the key players on the Buccaneers do in the red zone is real. Like, that strip sack on Ritter was a thing of absolute beauty. I mean, these guys don't give up on plays, and I trust them immensely. They lead the league allowing touchdowns on 22.22% of red zone drives. And Buffalo is a very angry football team. And they're going to be able to move the ball and score points. And I don't trust the Bills defense to stop the points from scoring. I don't want to sit here and hope that the Buccaneers do enough to keep it within 10, even though I think they should. I just want them to score over 16.5 points, and I expect them to do that. And I just want the total to go over 42, and I expect that to happen as well. So those are my 2 bets on this game. And this is, and again, it doesn't equate to cash, but I'm sitting here on a Thursday night, which are tricky games, as confident as I've ever felt, on a Thursday night. Take it away, Gogster, Buccaneers, Bills.
Well, I guess I should just tell your plays then, Jimmy. I'm not as confident. I'm not as confident in this one, but what I think I'm going to play here, guys, is with Godwin and Mayfield being out, I don't know how much they're going to throw the ball, even though the weather is really nice, Jimmy. You're not wrong. The rain's hitting just north of Buffalo, so it should be clear, like, I don't know, 18 Celsius. I don't know what that equates to Fahrenheit, unfortunately. But Rachaad White, guys, he's been rushing the ball a lot, to say the least. And their backup here, he hasn't been doing too much here. Who is it? Keyshawn Vaughn. Rachaad White, guys, he's hit over 12.5 rushing attempts in 5 of his 5 of his 6 games. Least amount being against Detroit, only running for 7 carries, 26 yards. I don't know how many rushing yards he's gonna get, Jimmy, but Buffalo's rush defense is ranked 23rd in the league right now, and that's how I think they're going to want to do this. They've got to keep off these strong offenses like KC and Buffalo. You got to run the ball. You got to time of possession is going to be key, I think, for Tampa Bay here. So look for the over carries for this Rachaad White, running back number 1 here for Tampa, guys. Over 12.5, minus 120 is what I found, Jimmy. That's what I'm going to look at. I was also looking at trying to take Buffalo here, but there's too many question marks in my opinion, and also Vita Vea for Buffalo or for the Bucs being their big defensive tackle. I don't know, is he in or not? I've been seeing question marks if he's going to be going, so that's going to hurt the.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know.
There's a lot of question marks here. What's going to happen? I'm definitely not taking Buffalo -10. I would be leaning towards Tampa Bay with you here. But I'm going to take Rachaad White, Jimmy, over 12.5 rushing attempts. Hit 5 of the last 6 times. I don't see it changing going up against the 23rd ranked defense in Buffalo. So -120 over 12.5.
Rachaad White over 12.5 rush attempts at minus what?
-120.
-120. And that's your only spot here on the board.
That's my only spot. I was going to do a same game parlay with Buffalo and the under I was looking at, but I had to scratch the under, especially after your breakdown and then being a short week, Buffalo being pretty pissed off, their defense with all the injuries. I'd lean to the over with you.
I have no concern about Mayfield starting this football game. Let me just put it there. If people asking whether you think about it, no concern at all. He's got no concerns of pain tolerance thing. Now, could he get hurt during the game? Yeah. Tony Bay says Bills just aren't good. I still think they're a good football team, but when they were healthy at the start of the year, they could have been a great football team.
Could have been a Super Bowl team, yeah.
Frank Baker's not going to get ruled out. I mean, you hear him talk. He's like, look, I'm good. He was a full participant in practice all week. Billy Friedrich says Bill's going to win that division. And wine time's on the under 43.5. If you guys want, and Bucs +10, I like him going up against these market moves here. But if you want the underweight, 44 now at Pinnacle, 44s are going to be on the board. People are hammering the over. So be patient and wait. Regis Austin says Bill's been starting slowly in first half under 21.5. Primetime unders have been cashing. But if the Bills start slow here after that loss to the Patriots and the horrific offensive output in the UK, I will be astonished. I think they're going to come out angry and ready to go. Fizz looking at Diggs anytime touchdown. Ronnie and Bergie just moved on that over team total over 16.5 at -105. I like that. Billy Friedrich saying Knox is out, so Kincaid is a sneaky prop play.
Yeah.
And that's where we stand here. Gagnon says Bills Pats game made no sense, especially with Miami smacking the Pats, Buffalo smacking Miami, but it conveniently gave life to the Pats playoff chance. Robert Franklin on the over 43.5. And Dennis Garcia said over 42, as we discussed on Tuesday, said would still look over, but getting tighter. Jarek White on the Bucs +9.5. And by the way, Billy Friedrich on the Bills first half and Kincaid over 48.5 yards receiving and first touchdown at 10-1. TJ's moved on Zabinajad over 2.5 shots. That's very interesting, TJ, because he's not scored, so I think he'll be firing everything at the net. Everything at the net. Joe Yurkovich said Bills -9. There's no backdoor here. And that's that. And Robert Franklin with Kincaid anytime, TD.
Love it.
Mr. Gogster, thank you for your hard work. I love these Thursdays. Congratulations on your very successful Frozen Frenzy on Tuesday. That's not easy with 16 games on the card. Ian Shaber looking for the pick 6 for the Bucs. And Fat Pap says, what is the injury concern on Baker? He just says that his knee's a problem right now. It just says pain tolerance is hurting. That's the situation here. So Sancho on Davis over 45.5 receivings. That's Gabe. Bills -9 over 43. Bills first quarter total over 6.5. You are the man, Mr. Gogster. Keep up the great work, my friend. And I will be in touch real soon. And we have the Breeders' Cup, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we're going to need you rocking and rolling with us, my friend.
Thank you, Jim, as always, buddy, for having me on. It's a real treat. I look forward to these hockey days with you guys, as always. It's been a nice start. I have here 20-14-1, up almost 10 units, guys. And we actually, last week or yesterday, 2 days ago, up 6 units. So we're seeing the board really clearly. Hopefully this football game, we can do well. And look forward to next Tuesday, guys. Be good, cash some tickets, and till next time.
I love it, Mr. Gogster. And I would have hammered your success. I just haven't tallied up your Tuesday action. So that was my fault. All right. So we're moving into NBA right now. Arnillo saying Georgia State money line says, fuck Southern. And I can't wait to talk about that game. But let me get all of my hockey links out of here because we're moving into NBA. And our guest today had a spectacular first season with us. And then he did it again last year. So he's had back-to-back great seasons with us. The only 2 seasons we've capped together. And I'm going to tweet that out. I'm going to put out what he's done on both seasons because it's extremely impressive. And let me get over to NBA. me just make sure I'm all set up so that I'm not reaching and panicking here when we move over to NBA with us. So everything up here, and let's go. Let's go. Your next guest has just been excellent. I mean, it's just basketball is a very, very tough cap, and to do what he's done 2 years in a row is very, very impressive. And unfortunately, our guy, there we go. There we go. Nice. We got it back. We got it back. This is what I want to see. This is what I've missed. This is what I've missed.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Darryl, we have missed you, my man. Welcome back. Season 3 of It's Darryl. Coming off back-to-back excellent seasons. That is not easy to do. You're in Austin, Texas right now, not in Los Angeles, but ready to rock and roll with us right now. You are a sight for sore eyes. I have missed you. I've missed your energy. I've missed your capping, and I've missed your friendship. Nice to have you back in action, man. How are you?
Yo, it is officially basketball, man. So I'm happy to be back as always, man. I got to start it off with, as you know, Jimmy, any day on this side of the grass is absolutely
good day.
Cheers to that. You know I had to start.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Nice.
Cheers to
nice.
that.
Nice.
So yeah, man, got me a little bit of white. Wanted to make it easy. And yeah, man, happy to be back talking about ball. There's a lot of things happening in the off season. And yeah, man, ball is back. We've got some new rules coming to play. We've got a new game format with the in-season conference tournament. So a lot of things are happening, man. Ball is progressing as this sport gets bigger and bigger, it seems like. But my aunt used to say gooder and gooder every year. So yeah, man, let's talk ball.
Let's talk ball. We have 2 huge games on the market. So all year, if you just want to see the NBA breakdowns, no, not today because Jose is traveling to Miami, but all year we'll have this cut out and set up so anybody can just watch just the the basketball section alone. We are 2 games through the season, but let's talk about last night. Let's talk about last night because, you know, these 4 teams here today only played well, one hasn't played yet, but we didn't see them last night. What jumped out at you from what you saw last night and from the early season action?
I really thought, okay, so let's start off with just the home team, right? Which you know I'm a fan of the Lakers. I thought it was perfectly set up for them to go in, showing what they did in the offseason, and really, really come out strong. And that just didn't happen. It didn't happen. You saw 2 sides of the coin. Once again, with AD, we paid him all that money in the offseason. We paid Austin Reeves in the offseason. A lot of depth added to this team. They're now favored to go to the finals in some books. Got to the conference finals and swept by Denver. You just know the narrative there was right. To come to Denver, smack the shit out of them. Didn't happen. Did not happen at all. So I really, really have to pay close attention to what this team is doing. Just impressive what LeBron has done in year 21. And it's just a complete joke what AD did in the second half. So I got to look at this head coach, man. I've got to look at this head coach. I don't know if Darvin Ham, some of the rotations and lineups that he had out there, it was just flat out stupid. I don't want to go into a lot of them. It was just weird seeing some players together. Kind of reminds me of Brandon Staley, his coaching with the Chargers. And, you know, I say this only because those are the teams that I follow. Pacers, they put up almost 150, man, on the Wizards. Now, we know the Wizards is absolute ass. Only scorers you're going to have on that team is Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, right? I think Deni Avdija in the preseason already got tired of Poole's antics, throwing his hands up because Poole not passing the ball. So we know that that team is going to be ass. This is probably a fade team. But considering what they did last year, something we got to look out for. And that is first quarter overs on this squad. They put up almost 40 points, 39 points to the Pacers, 34 points in the first quarter. I mean, we're talking about damn near 80 points combined in the first quarter. So that's something that we have to pay attention to moving forward with this Wizards team, that they're going to score a lot of points in the first quarter, and they'll just eventually fizzle out. Orlando, once again, playing a trash squad, man. But Orlando is a young team that's got a lot of bigs, and a lot of different players that can handle the ball. So I'm curious to see how this team goes. Beating NBA team isn't really a big thing, but how you beat them, keeping an NBA team under 100 points in today's NBA is saying a lot. It says a lot about that team, first off, being complete ass, but it also says a lot about you defensively and just being able to handle what that team is throwing back at you.
Can I stop you because I have questions and I don't want to move on without questions. Well, let's stick with what we're talking about right now. Dutch's concern with the Magic was they didn't have enough shooters. Do you feel like that's going to be a problem with them this year?
No, I think they have shooters. I do. No, it's a young team. It's a young team. What I look at with the Magic right now is that you can play 5 out, and you've got a lot of people who can handle the ball. That's just me. I'm looking at it right now. If you look at this box score with Orlando, okay, Wendell Carter, he can handle the ball. Didn't have many points, but he can handle the ball. He's a center, and he can handle the ball as a center. 8 points, okay? Of course, you've got Paolo Banchero. 12 points. That's kind of lackluster for Paolo, who could give you 25 on a night easily. Franz Wagner, this guy has taken a step up. He's taken an absolute step up. He can handle the ball. He can shoot. Markelle Fultz can shoot. So we know the problem with Markelle. It seemed like they were trying to fix his shot when he first came to the league with the 76ers, I believe. And so Markelle coming along, he's probably maybe your fourth option at this time, maybe third or fourth option. Jalen Suggs, come on, he can shoot. Cole Anthony, come on, this guy can shoot. He's the type of guy that you wake up and he's got 30 points. He's not going to do it consistently. They won't do it consistently, but we'll see. We'll see if it's changed. We'll see if they turn that tide, turn that corner. So I do believe you've got a lot of people on there who can, first off, dribble the ball down the court, and secondly, they can create their own shot. I mean, we're seeing what happened to Isaac. Well, he's playing now. Jonathan Isaacs he's been in the league for what, 4 years now, and he's finally able to play. He gave you 11 points. So I just think that they do have players on that team. Gary Harris. I mean, they've got shooters. Ingles. So there are shooters on this team. They're young, but I do believe that they might be a surprise team in the league this year.
Well, they're an option at the division. We have DG got him at 10-1. Dan Kelly got him at 8-1. And they're available still at 7.5-1 right now. Let me ask you this question from Skydragon. If the Lakers think they can win games with LeBron, this isn't more of a statement. If the Lakers think they can win games with LeBron playing 28 minutes a night, they are delusional. Do you agree with that?
Okay, say that to me one more time, because my selective hearing just went out. I need to hear that with some force. I need to hear that with your chest, man. Say it with your chest.
If the Lakers think they can win games with LeBron playing 28 minutes a night, they are delusional.
Supposedly, this was the plan for him not to play as much this year, right? So I agree with that. I do agree with that. But first off, he was doing that December, January of this last season, right? The thing is, he's old, and you don't want him to get hurt. But if this man could go the season without being injured, something happened with the nagging foot injury or something like that, he absolutely could play that many minutes. He absolutely can. And I don't know. I was watching that game. They still can't stop him driving down to the hoop, bro. They cannot stop him. He was driving, putting his shoulder down and just driving to the hoop, giving either the right hand or the left hand. And they just couldn't stop him still. Now, it's a very fresh, healthy LeBron. You know, we know what I don't think he really cares about all-star rules at this point, but I believe he meets the veteran requirements to where he doesn't have to play any games, obviously. There's some players who've been in the league for a while who don't meet those requirements and what you have to play in order to be voted all-star with the new rules that they have into effect. But, yeah, he's right, and he's right, but he could be wrong.
And finally, we got to get into the Sixers Bucs, but I was very impressed with the transition game of the Raptors and the defense of the Raptors. And I was, if you have realistic expectations, I was like, well, this is going to be a fun season. And I did move with you, DG, and max bet for me, which is 500. I max bet the over. Well, I can call in and get more, but I have to call in if I want to go over 500. So I did move on that with the over 36.5 wins on the Raptors, and I was pleased with what I saw last night. What do you think of what you saw from the Raptors?
Second and fourth quarter, man. Second and fourth quarter. I looked at the box score with this game. I didn't watch the game. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch this game at all. But just looking at, you've got a pretty low scoring first quarter, if you ask me, for a Minnesota team.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the type of game that Toronto would love to play. They can play that all day. 25-25 in the first quarter. They can play that all day. Just fundamental basketball. And so we'll see what this image with this. Who's your coach's name? I forget his name.
We just call him Darko.
Darko. Yeah, we'll see the image of the Raptors this year, but that's another team I'm going to pay attention to.
I'm very excited about what we saw. It was a
Greg is roasting me in the comments. I love you, Greg. I love you, man. You're right. I just think Greg is mad because Astros got punked.
And Sharpie coming into the chat with action.
What up, Sharpie?
Well, so let's copy and paste that here for the Philly game. All right, well, let's get right to work. Darryl in action. And I will tweet out your record of the last 2 years because it's very, very impressive work done on the show. And your numbers, we don't have statistical backing, and you love your first quarters, and you love analyzing breaking it down to first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So do you slow it down to start the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to try something different, and I did something different this year. I bet a couple preseason games, was successful with the Lakers in the preseason, and then lost to the Blazers. That was one. And then I hardly ever bet, I've taken some wise cappers advice. You got to let these teams play in every scenario, back to back, a home and home, back to back on the road, a long stretch of home games, a stretch of away games. Those things matter, right? So when you're betting, especially in the beginning of the season, anything could happen. And I learned that with the Lakers. And I learned that with the Warriors. So my first plays of the season for opening night, 0-3 right off the jump. So me personally, I can't go against how I've always bet. I try to do that this year, and that is just don't go too heavy. Don't go too heavy.
You struggled in the beginning of last year.
I did.
Yeah, and then you caught fire with this when you had the data. You needed the data. So it's going to be very interesting. I think it's important to talk about here because that's that happened last year, and you almost felt like you were lost, and I was like, look, you're going to get it, and your overall record was very good last year again. So I'm just very going to be, as we do this year after year after year, which I hope to do with you. I'd love to see how the process, how you handle not having the data. But if
I could catch fire early, that would be a good thing. So that's what I'm hoping for this year.
Yeah, it always helps to have, and Billy Friedrich talking about your postseason picks. It always helps here to just because it gives you confidence. And sometimes you need the confidence to fire, and you need your bankroll to be sound. So I get it. Let's get to work. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Philadelphia 76ers at the Milwaukee Bucks. Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And although Harden is back with the team, he is not traveling to Milwaukee for the home opener. We've heard from Skydrag, and he says Philly +6 and money line. He says, I'll look to back Philly whenever the circus isn't playing. They'll be fine with Maxey running the show. Sharpie says best prize picks best bet today is Harris over 28.5 fantasy score without Harden last year when playing 30+ minutes. 5-1 to the over, averaging 33.3 points in the fantasy score. Let's take a look at this line history. We have 6.5s now on the board, but Pinnacle has maintained the 6. It's Bovada and others that have gone to 6.5. Now, Pinnacle did go to 6.5 for a brief amount of time. At 8:06 a.m., they moved it to 6.5, and then it got hammered. It got hit. Well, it took an hour. It took an hour to get hit, and then it got hit. They moved the line, and then they had to move it back to 6, which is where it is right now. But you can get that 6 with no vig, and we saw all of last year when a team was missing a star player, that they took care of business. And I find that 6 very appealing right now with Maxey running the show, especially after what we've seen from him get better and better and better seemingly every game. This total is sitting at 227.5. It opened up at 225. We've gone 2.5 points towards the over, and it is juiced to the over. Bovada has moved it to 228. And they are the only book to do so of the offshores. Let's get into the cash flow here, and I want to see what everybody in the chat is on as well. 32% of the tickets and 38% of the cash is on the 76ers. I find that a comfortable situation. 36% of the tickets and 67% of the cash is on the under, but went up to 2.5 points. Gregory Wilson went small on Dame double at +300, leaving side and total alone. We have so much to talk about. Cuban Connect already got in on the over at 225.5. Harold 5-1 to start the year. Wine Time saying I think it's going to take time for Dame and Giannis. Jarek White on the over 226.5. And Mr. Vape ran Harris to score more than Lopez. Woo Rizza says, just get on Maxey props. Nurse said he wants him taking 20+ shots a game. Billy Friedrich liking the Sixers plus the points. BJ says Bucks handle business. Tony Bass says the Bucks are too deep. Sammy Comer liking the Bucks first quarter. Liking the Bucks first quarter.
Okay. I couldn't talk you off of it.
Here we go. Darryl, your first game of the year. We have missed you. Take it away, my guy. The floor is yours.
Okay, so let's look at some angles here. To Greg's point on the double-double, wouldn't be surprised if Dame hits this. His assists are juiced. Something terrible, right? My book right now, 6.5 assists. So 7 assists is at -239. So that's telling. 8 assists just gets you even. So what kind of Dame are we going to see? Are we going to see some pick and roll action happening with Dame? Pick and pop action happening? We know, Giannis is still terrible at the 3, but now he has options to kick it back out to a more dependable 3-point shooter in Dame. So seeing his assists that high just tells you right off the bat that, okay, we could be looking at a new type of Dame, right? He's not having to do all the work himself as he's had to do in the past in some years. And he's playing with undoubtedly the best big man in the league and the best big man he's ever been paired with in his entire career. So that is probably a good start as far as looking at Dame's double-double. Trends here that I've read on, you can see this on covers.com. Milwaukee Bucks have hit the first quarter game total over 51 of their last 80 games. That would give you 19 units at a 21% ROI if you just bet Milwaukee first quarter team total over. Milwaukee has hit the first half money line in 29 of their 41 last games, giving you 14 units, 15% return of investment. The Milwaukee Bucks have hit the game total over 24 of their last 35 games. Milwaukee Bucks have hit the first half game total over in 12 of their last 15 games. 53% ROI. If you remember having that chart of first quarter and first half spreads, who's always up there in the top three? Milwaukee Bucks. So the only way I could play this, and I decided to step on it, was go with the team that's had less of a distraction. Now, I don't care what you may think about Harden not being there or being there. It's still a distraction. It's still material for the media, right? So I always like to go with the team that has less of a carnival or less of a circus following them when they play. And so you look at how Denver opened up with the sense of excitement. Should have known not to even bet Lakers if you follow the trend with games won after teams on a ring ceremony night, right? So I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks having a sense of excitement. This team has always been high scoring. Now you're adding on Dame Lillard to this. So the way I played this was Bucks first half -3, because I do believe that they are going to be the more excited team, a team they're going to have to figure out how to get, how to play it in gel, but I don't think it's going to have anything to do with their scoring. Maybe their defense, but not their scoring. And that's even saying maybe their defense is a stretch. I also like Bucks first half team total over 59.5. Bucks first half team total over 59.5. I do like that. So I stepped on those two plays already. And the last play I stepped on, which is going to be something different for me, but I think when it comes to points, if you look at it, Dame and Giannis have the same point total, 27.5. Dame was averaging over 32 points last year in his 11th, 10th season in the league. I don't think Dame is going to have over 27.5 points. So I did step on Dame under 27.5 points, at least for his first game. We'll see how he starts to fit into the system. He is going to make some threes. 4 threes was juiced to the minus number. So they're looking at him shooting some threes, but 27.5 points, the same amount as Giannis right now. I don't think so. I think Giannis is going to be the one, if you were going to bet points over, would be Giannis's points over, because of the opportunities he will have now with Dame being on the court. You got to keep defenses honest, and that's what Dame does, especially how far out he could shoot. So as far as spacing out the floor, defense has got to be honest. Are you going to let Dame shoot from the logo, in which he can, or are you going to press him? So in the first game of the season, I just think this is more about kind of filling out each other, and I do like Dame under 27.5 points. First half -3 and team total over 59.5 points.
To get those numbers right now, the first half -3 is -115.
Okay.
The first half team total has gone up with juice. Let's see if I can get it here. The first half.
I got it at 59, so this was earlier.
We can get to 59.5. It's just minus 119.
130. Oh, 119. Okay, I'll take it.
And it's 60.5 now over at Bet365. So 59.5 minus 119 at Pinnacle. And then Lillard under 27.5. What did you get that at?
Minus 126.
Minus 126. And Joshua asking, I think it was Joshua in the chat. Yeah, Joshua asking, what do you think of the 4.5 3-pointers for Dame? It's funny. It's plus 133 to the over right now, minus 181 to the under. So I don't know about that.
My book just may be different, but I've got Dame 4. So 3. So if you go 4.5. Then plus 127. If you go 3.5, it's minus 213. So that's a little tricky for me. I just was okay. So Dame is a shooter, and this is a serious question, right? But is Dame shooting threes because he can or because he had to? Or is it kind of a mixture of both? Right? Now that you have a solid team where you don't have as much pressure to shoot, is he going to shoot as many threes as he was in Portland? Or is he just going to be that solid outlet to where when that defense collapses on Giannis, or when that rotation comes out on the wing to stop Chris Middleton from shooting those corner threes, can he kick it back out to the top of the key, and then hit the top of the perimeter really to get it to Dame? So I don't know I don't know. Dame is obviously the second option, first or second option, depending on what schemes are ran, right? But is it always his option? Is always his option going to be to shoot the three? And that's just a serious question. What are your thoughts about that?
Well,
that would help me moving forward.
I think that it's imperative for Dame to be a provider as he starts his career with the Bucs. I think he needs to show everybody that he's not here to take over anything. There's no need for him to take over anything. Right. He wants to be a piece of the puzzle. And I think that he will provide more in the first few games of his career with Bucs than he will as soon as that kind of gets over with. Like I do not think that he's going to be. Now I could be wrong, but I would bet you that he shoots in the first 3 quarters way less than his career average.
Absolutely,
and then
I would agree with that.
Maybe in the 4th, if necessary, he starts doing it. But I think he's going to be concerned, about the way, and everybody does when they go on to a new team. I mean, the people that you want to play with, and I imagine that Dame's one of them. So I like your under 27.5 points. I bet you it'll be looking really good going into the 4th quarter. But then when it's Dame time, I don't know exactly what he's going to have going on.
Yeah.
Gregory Wilson says, I think he's going to look to get others involved. He knows he can get his anytime, and he needs others to help him get to the finish line. But Polo that says Dame will have 10+ points minimum first quarter.
10. Well, okay, and that's fine. But he doesn't need to have 10. Like I said, the Bucs team is going to put up 30 points in the first quarter if they're playing how they usually played. But when you have a new piece like this, I trust that first half. Bucs have always been a first quarter, first half team, So Philly, if it was Philly at home, I wouldn't think that way. But this is the Bucs at home. This fan base is excited. That fan base and stadium is going to be electric tonight. I promise you. And the second Dame shoots back-to-back threes, if it happens, man, you get a timeout called in that state or arena. I'm calling it stadium. That arena is going crazy. Right. So, yeah, I because of how they've played and the additions that they've added, I like that first half look. That's probably one of my favorite looks. I don't do a lot of props and points, but if I'm seeing how the game is going to go, I just feel like this is a game to where Dame doesn't have to do everything. And he having the same amount of points as Giannis, I just think Giannis is the person that can give you over 27.5.
What was the juice on the under 27.5 points? Sorry.
Minus 126 is where I got.
Minus 126. Okay. We are locked in. I am moving on the Sixers +6. I am moving on.
Wow.
I am. I think that they can keep it within that number. I expect the Bucs to win this game, but I think that Maxey is going to show out, and Nurse has a plan, and I just think that the Sixers step up without Harden in the lineup and get the cover. That's full game +6 is what I'm moving on. Our guy Darryl is on the Bucs first half -3.
Well, we both can win. We both can win.
Both can. And you got that -3 and -113 that was found at Bookmaker from our guy Billy Friedrich. Bucs first half team total over 59.5 -119, and Dame under 27.5 points at -126. DG says, I want Paul Reed player props. Why are these sports books so lame? And Fat Fab win betting Phoenix to win the fourth quarter right now. So we're going to go over that. I love it. And Nasty Nate says Embiid rebounds over should be and that's his. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Okay. I hear you, Nate.
We are going to move on to the next game on the board, but I also want all you guys to know that for Thursday NBA action here on Betting with the Bag, we are going to try to lock down that 1 p.m. Eastern times when Darryl's back in LA. We're going to try to nail that every Thursday. So if you guys just want NBA action, just want to know what Darryl's on, you can come here at 1 p.m. Eastern. And that will be the time slot we're going to try to nail down for Darryl throughout the year. So that will help everybody schedule things around. So that's 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. And that is the 10 p.m. Eastern start with the Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Lakers at Crypto.com. Justin McElvey already gave us a stacks play of the day. And that is the Brow over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists at +1.
Wow.
And it's amazing that you can buy low on the Brow after one game, but he's taken a lot of heat for that second half. Now, this game is muddied by, and maybe we know more, but Bradley Beal and Devin Booker right now. Are they game time decisions? Has anybody been ruled out? That is clearly an issue here for these Phoenix Suns. Wine Time Sports took a Lakers moneyline, Virginia Tech moneyline parlay at +140 and dropping 4 bills on it. Lakers spot says BJ Sancho says Lakers first half. And let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have 46 minutes until the Cappers contest show, and Daby Cab and I are doing our best bets for college football. So we probably should get this done in about 5 minutes or so. Let's go to the full game spread here for this one. This is sitting with the Lakers at -6 at -103. This opened up with the Lakers at -1.5. So yesterday at 8:47 p.m., there was a 4.5 point move towards the Lakers, which is saying that Booker and Beal aren't in.
Mm-hmm.
From a total perspective, this is sitting at 225.5. So at that time at 8:47 p.m. I guess this was already yes, it did. Sorry, it was 8:50 p.m. So at 8:50 p.m. this dropped 5 points from 229 to 224. It did open at 229.5, and then it started climbing at that point. It got back up to 226. Taking a look at the cash flow for this one, 83% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the under. And from a spread perspective, you have 46% of the tickets and 50% of the cash on the Phoenix Suns. Take it away here. Billy Friedrich saying Booker is doubtful. I mean, we can imagine that this market's saying that we are off. And for those of you guys looking for just a pure NBA show here on the channel, that's still in discussions right now. So there's not one at this point, but they're working on putting something together. Take it away for us here, Darryl. The late game, Suns, Lakers.
I don't want to take it away.
Oh, no.
I don't, Jimmy.
Oh, no.
I don't give a fucking shit about this game from a betting perspective. I'm going to watch the game, right? But listen, hard head make for a soft bottom, man. And I learned that real quick betting on the Lakers in the opening night. So no. Right now, I don't have a good read on this game. I don't at all. Because were the Phoenix Suns really that good against the Dubs? Or are the Dubs just straight up ass? Are they cooked, man? Like, I don't know. And are the Nuggets just the Lakers' kryptonite because of how well they match up? Or did the Lakers just really just lay a fucking rotten egg? I don't know. So this one here, I was just nowhere near confident in making a play at all. Maybe props is the way to go, but I just really have to look at this team. Even on opening night, since I had money on the game, I really didn't. I would usually go and look at highlights or look at game replays on the NBA.com. But this one here, I just need to study. I need to study what's going on more. I really do. I really do. Christian Wood got so much burn, and I don't know what Ham is doing. Torian Prince got a lot of burn, and is he a bona fide starter? Right? And it made sense to me. I saw Jay Money post out something on X talking about something to the point to where you got to be crazy if you think Torian Prince is a starter in today's NBA. Right? Now, he did come out hot, and maybe the Lakers now will have a better 3-point game than they did last year. Obviously, adding Gabe Vincent, and then having Torian Prince. But D'Lo still making some dumbass mistakes, right? Christian Wood going behind the pick and roll on Joker, like he's not going to shoot the three. So I don't get it right now. I don't get it right now. Christian needs more minutes. Christian, man, has been bounced around. Like, teams do not believe in him. Teams do not believe in Christian Wood. Like, this could really be Christian Wood's last chance to stay in the league is with the Lakers, honestly. So I don't really know how to gauge this team right now. This one's going to take me a little bit, but I would be more than welcome, and happy to see what people are playing props-wise, right? So people thought Reeves was an all-star type player. Well, the thing was, polo this, polo that, was Ham wasn't going to play Reeves as much because he just played in the World Championships, right? And so I think because you saw so much on Reeves and how bad he did in some games in the World Championships, that he's all of a sudden being written off. Lakers paid him to be the third guy, right? That's your big three technically should be, based upon what the Lakers paid, is LeBron, AD, and Austin Reeves, right? And you've got a lot of really good set pieces, a lot of depth on this team. So right now, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on Austin not having the best game, not too much emphasis on these guys kind of laying an egg in Denver, but I just really have to give what I would say a cause for pause, man, in this spot right now, because I just don't know who the Lakers are. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know. And I don't know if the Suns are really, really good or if the Dubs were just really, really bad. And I don't even know if they would still look good even if Dre was in the game. So no play for me on this game.
No move here. We have some action in the chat for wine time. That's highlighted there. Russell over 13.5 points. Ryan Mueller on KD over 28.5, AD over 21.5. Last year, we saw over and over again teams missing their star players step up. Fat Win says, I think those players won't be in the lineup. That's why he bet the fourth quarter. I mean, you would think that would be the right script with these players out, but I just can't. After everything we saw last year, over and over and over again, the team's missing players step up in their absence. I don't want the Lakers here, but I wish the Lakers were feeling good about themselves. If the Lakers were feeling good about themselves, I would be on the Suns late. Wait till it goes up and up and up, and the players are ruled out. But with the Lakers, an angry group after a poor performance, and AD, taking all the heat in the media, I just going to be a stay off for me as well.
Yeah, somebody said that Lakers basically played the champs last year who had the same roster. But the only thing I would say to that is you lost some important pieces in Denver who really contributed to that postseason run, and that was Uncle Jeff Green and Brown. Right, these guys are gone, and so now your team is definitely a lot younger than it was last year, and so that's what we were hoping we could exploit is the youth on that squad. But it still can't, it still can attribute for their set pieces in MPJ, Jamal, of course, Joker, and Gordon. So yeah.
It is great to have you back in action with us, Darryl. I've missed you, my man. Please follow Darryl on X at It's Darryl. He's got 3 official plays here for record-keeping purposes. Bucs first half -3, -1 for 13. Bucs first half total over 59.5, -119. And Dame under 27.5 points at -126. The only look for me here on the board is the Sixers at +6. And that is us for today. Darryl, we've missed you, man. It's great to have you back in action. Any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Everybody, best of luck tonight, man. It is a long, long, long season, so you don't have to go all in right away. Jimmy, it's good seeing you too, brother. Good hearing your voice, man. I hope all is well with everyone in the chat, and I will see y'all next Thursday.
I've missed them. I have missed them. I need to hear this one last time. Darryl, be well, my guy. And great to have you back in action. Please follow him on X at It's Darryl.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
All right. We move on. It was amazing. We got through the whole NBA breakdown without talking about the Dwight Howard situation. Yeah. We were laughing about it last night. It wasn't sexual assault. It was all good. All right. Let's move on, though. Let's not hammer that home. Let's move on to college football. We got college football here, and we have to break down the 2 Thursday games, and then we get into best bets. Daby Cab and I get into best bets. If we go a little long and we have to push back the Cappers Contest show, that's okay, because I don't know what Jose just landed, so he's getting back to his sister's spot in Miami as fast as possible, so that will be fine. Let's move on to college football and bring on your guest here for us today. And we're going to try to find more spots for him here on the show with college football here and then college basketball right after. Coming to us from Dallas, Texas, he is the star of our Saturday college football live stream. This Saturday, it's Oklahoma Sooners at Kansas Jayhawks right after Saturday Means Football with Jeff Nadeau and Peter Loshak. And also, he is the star, and he's got a look. That's one of our best bets for him on our show today. And he is the star of Medicate Mondays alongside Dutch Boy Fresh, LJ from H-Town, Mike M, Razor Sharp Picks. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, Dabra Cadabra. Dabby, what's good, man?
Man, I'm ready, Jimmy. Chat, everybody out there. I see we got Wine Time, Robert, DC, Sharon, everybody rolling in, man. Ready to get this money on Saturday. Last Saturday, the live bet stream. Anybody that tuned in, you know, I bet a little bit more than I usually like to bet on camera because it gets really uncomfortable. But we did it, and we cashed, and it was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, it was just a huge weekend for our live streams. Like, we just destroyed them, made so much money on them, and then we need to continue that today. So let's get right to work here. Let me get everything set up here for college football. So let's not be too, I've not received a message from Jose right now, so let's just not worry about anything. I'm going to need him to do the Capper show. I can't do it solo. So let's not worry about anything. Let's do the work to get the money. Do the work to get the money. And we start on Thursday here right now for Thursday night college football action. And let's go. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Syracuse Orange 4-3, 0-3 in the ACC. A wonderful story no longer. At the Virginia Tech Hokies 3-4, 2-1 in the ACC. Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia. 64 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 4 miles per hour. It's hotter up here than it is in Virginia Tech today and tonight, and we love it. It's going to be very cold soon. So let's just soak all this up. Let's get into the line history. Now, both college football games tonight start at 7:30 p.m., and I've not moved on either. We start with this spot here. Virginia Tech opening up at -3 at -112. They're now -3 at +101. So we've had a legit market move towards the orange. The Virginia Tech at plus money is at Pinnacle. It's nowhere else. You know, they're somewhat regular juice everywhere else. But Pinnacle Sharp Book moving in the direction of L'Orange. From a total standpoint, we're sitting at 47.5. This opened up at 47. It went up to 48, and it dropped to 47.5. Jarek White on Syracuse +3. DC Capper on Virginia Tech -3. Billy Friedrich bet this first half under 23.5 at -110. And Wine Time's giving out the Lakers Virginia Tech parlay at +140. Says, I think the home crowd is going to be going nuts in Virginia. Says, since Virginia Tech made the change at quarterback, they look like a much different team. Let's get into the cash flow then for this one. We have it very split, but some of the bigger bets are on Syracuse. 48% of the tickets and 60% of the cash is on Syracuse. And from a total standpoint, we have 29% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on the over. Polo this, polo that says 80 degrees in the New Jersey day. We need it. I'm very happy about it. Mikey M talking about that pregame walkout over in Blacksburg. It is very cool. But let's talk about some X's and O's and hand it over to Daby Cab. Ian Shaver grabbed the Virginia Tech -2.5, says feels solid. Syracuse comes in off its third straight ugly double-digit loss, 41-3 at Florida State as 18.5-point dogs. They let FSU put up 535 total yards. They've been outscored 112-24 over those 3 games, and Garrett Schrader is not look good. In those 3 weeks, he's averaged 133 yards passing. Those 3 games, I should say. Virginia Tech comes in off a 30-13 win at home over Wake Forest as 1.5-point favorites. They also played at Florida State, but they fared better. It sort of depends on how you look at it. If you look at the final score, they lost 39-17 and they were 23.5-point dogs. But they were down 22-0 after the first quarter, and Florida State just kind of let their foot off the gas. 24.4 points per game is what these Hokies are averaging. And if you only look at their games against Purdue, Rutgers, and Marshall, they didn't score over 17. Take it away for us here. Big one in Lane Stadium, Blacksburg, Virginia. Daby Cab, Syracuse, Virginia Tech. Floor is yours.
I think our guy Winetine in the chat got it, man. He said Virginia Tech looks like a new team with the quarterback because, I tell you what, both these teams have been a tale of, 2 seasons in this early part of this season already. Syracuse looked great early on in the season. You touched on it, the good win against Purdue, Army, and that they won comfortably in those games, and then just turned around and dropped 3 straight. And they didn't just lose 3 straight; they haven't covered the spread yet in any other conference games here in the ACC. Whereas Virginia Tech early on in the season against Rutgers looked terrible. Marshall didn't look good. They've looked better in conference play. So, like I said, just a tale of 2 seasons for both of these 2 teams. Syracuse is trying to avoid a 4th straight loss here. Schrader has just been inconsistent. That's been my problem. Their senior QB, I expected big things out of him this season, and he just hasn't done it. He has hit 245 in passing yards 3 times this season, but since conference play, he's just struggled. He's got an 8-5 touchdown interception ratio on the season, which is not what you want to see. For all these reasons, man, I think I'm going to be off of this game. This Syracuse defense has struggled to defend the pass. Not good on defense. They're 115th right now in college football defending the pass. Drones at QB, like I touched on it, he had 321 yards passing against Wake Forest. I think he should have another big night here against a shaky defense. It would probably be Virginia Tech at home or pass for me, and I'm going to pass.
Yeah, how bad Syracuse has looked the last few weeks.
It's confusing, huh?
Well, it is after how good they were in the non-conference play. It just feels like, they're going to be in this game. We know that from the spread.
I can tell you right now, if I was having a good season, I would take the points with Syracuse in the first half, but I'm not. So this is going to be a pass game for me because I got to get my shit cleaned up.
Yeah, at Will Hill right now, that +3 on the Syracuse full game is -125. This is and what do you think of this total? We know that neither team has been scoring. And neither team looks good offensively. We talked about quarterback change over at Virginia Tech, but this is at 47.5. It's a pick 'em. It got up to 48 and was immediately bet down. And I guess when it comes down to it, I have interest in the under. I see the sharper bets on the over and the line not moving. Rand says easy pass, and maybe that is just DC saying Syracuse a terrible team. And Dom play. I love the over. I'm on it at 42 in the NFL game, and I'm on the Bucs team total over 16.5. Circa said, Coin saying Circa opened this up at 44.5. So it's just gone up. And I guess I just don't feel a real clean spot on this. What did you think of the total before we move on to the next one?
Syracuse's defense, man, it's not good. I mean, I would lean under. I think there's a reason why, it's as low as it is. I'd lean under here. I don't see this game, either of these teams putting up 30 here, but Virginia Tech has put up 38 and 30 on Pitt. They put up 38 on Wake. They put up 30. Again, this quarterback's throwing the ball, and Syracuse has a very suspect pass defense. This game's this was a very tough cap for me. I mean, a very interesting game. This game's tough to get a feel for.
Well, I think I have an angle on the next one. So why don't we move over to that one? Sorry that we don't have action. Cappers in the chat do. Don Play says Virginia Tech money line's the only way he looks. Harold Williams leaning towards Tech. DC Cappers on the under. And Robert Franklin on Virginia Tech says Enter Sandman. That was the album we used to play before our hockey games back in the day. What was that? I was like grade 7, grade 8 back then. All right, let's move on here to the next spot on the board. Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Sun Belt East battle, and everybody trying to keep up with the Dukes. We're at Allen E. Paulson Stadium, Statesboro, Georgia, 70 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 3 miles per hour. Mel says, Jimmy, will the Avs break their own NHL record by winning their 16th straight road game tonight? Why are they not favored by more, Mel? It's pretty fishy. It's a pretty fishy line. I'm not on the other side, but both Gogster and I did not move on that game. Let's talk about, do you think they are, Mel? I mean, it's exciting. This total is very high. We're sitting at 62.5. This opened up at 62. It went up to 64 before buyback, down to 62.5. From a side perspective, we are all the way down to 1. So it's probably better for us to look on the money line. The money line right now has Georgia Southern all the way down to minus 115. They opened up at minus 131. They got up to minus 138 immediately, and there was buyback, legit, real buyback. Georgia Straight, sorry, that's a newspaper in Vancouver. Georgia State sitting at plus 103 over at Pinnacle. And if we move over to Bet Online, they're at plus 100. At Bet Online, there's been 15 cents of movement, and it was pretty immediate. Georgia Southern opened up at minus 135, and then it dropped to minus 120. 15 cents of movement. Going and DC Capper on Georgia State. For the number on the total, we have 48% of tickets and 79% of cash on the over. And from a spread perspective, 59% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on Georgia Southern. But the line just moved immediately to Georgia State, which has kept me off of the bet here. So this is a must-win for both teams if they want anything, if they want to keep close or keep the Dukes within reach. Georgia State comes in off a tight 2017 win at the Louisiana Raging Cajuns as 3-point dogs. And the X's and O's angle here is just that the Panthers are bad against the pass. And that's why I wanted to find a way to get in on Southern at home. But with this immediate market move to the Panthers, I just couldn't do it. And I thought maybe if we talked it out, I would. But now I'm even just saying the market move out loud, I'm even more concerned. But I mean, they're allowing 275.4 passing yards a game. I mean, that's 122nd in the country. Georgia Southern comes in off an underwhelming 38-28 win over UL Monroe as 16.5-point favorites. I mean, they were looking ahead at this huge game. and they lose to James Madison, and they lose to Wisconsin. And the Wisconsin game was a debacle. And their passing game is very good. They're throwing 50 a game. They're putting up 32.3 points per game. They're 12th in the nation in passing yards per game. Davis Brin has already thrown for 2,122 yards. Now he makes mistakes. He takes risks, and it all fell apart against Wisconsin. 14 touchdowns, 11 picks on the season. Bet Disguise says over 62 is a smash spot for me. Billy Friedrich moved on the Georgia State money line plus 105 2 days ago, and DC Capper's on Georgia State. Jarek White is on Georgia Southern. Robert Franklin says Georgia State by 7 or more. And Robert Franklin says Georgia Southern defense that is suspect. There's Loyalty Chisel in the house. What up, Loyalty Chisel? Take it away for us here. Daby Cab, Georgia State Panthers, Georgia Southern Eagles, and Statesboro, Georgia.
You know, this is Georgia State has been a team that I've enjoyed betting. This has gone back for a couple years for me. I've really enjoyed betting Georgia State, but the first thing you said was the reason why I don't have a bet on Georgia State right now was their pass defense is suspect here. And Georgia Southern can throw the ball. Like you were just talking about Bryn. He's been great. On the other side, Granger's been good too. He was good against the Cajuns last week, 77% of his passes for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. One thing I'd say about Bryn is that he's prone to throw interceptions here. And that's one thing that could, if they're going to put up a lot of yards, but he's going to turn the ball over a couple times, that'll keep Georgia State in this game. The total's high for a reason though, Jimmy. It's hard to pick a side here on this game, but I might get to the window with the over. Both of these defenses can allow points. Georgia State on the season's only allowing, I had it right here, I think like 24 points on the season on defense. Georgia State's given up 22.9 points per game. Yeah, there it is. It's not as indicative of who it is, though. It's some of who they've played also. I think this gets over the total. I think this is just going to be a shootout both ways. Eagles have won 3 of their last 4 games at home. 3 of their last 4 games and 3 straight at home here. So this is a spot where they're comfortable playing at home, which always plays a factor. Over. I wouldn't pick a side. I'd just go with the total.
The X's and O's in the spot tell you that the over is a play. And I would have already moved on, except for the fact that these rivalry games have higher intensity. And these teams don't like each other. And that's what's kept me off of it already. That's what's kept me off of it. It's just that there's so much on the line in this football game. And the key will be to keep the other team's offense off of the field. And so that's what's kept me off of moving on the over. And I really like that we are doing best bets on these days as well, because it keeps me off from saying, oh God, I need to have action here, because I moved on 4 spots this morning. So I got to scratch the itch. Mikey M says only 3 hours from campus to campus. Wine Time says it's actually going to be a great game to bet live. And I don't feel like I have an angle. I thought if the market had not have moved towards Georgia State, I would be on Georgia Southern. And I cashed with State. What was it? 2 weeks ago was it Marshall? 42-24, whatever it was. I forget who it was against now offhand, but but I don't feel. I wish this wasn't. If one of these teams was 2-4, the fact that they both want to keep the Dukes in sight, and it's a must win for both teams, and it's a rivalry game. That's the only reason why I didn't already bet the over, and that's why I think there was buyback once it got to 64.
I think the difference in this game could come down to Bryn turning the football over. He throws too many interceptions. That's like one of the serious issues that he's got.
But if you take away that Wisconsin game, and if you take that out, then he's got 14 touchdowns and 6 picks. I mean, it still looks bad, but not as bad.
True, but yeah.
The Wisconsin game was a debacle. Okay, well, Are you going to move on the over in Georgia State, Georgia Southern?
Maybe at the end of the show, possibly. Let's get it. Let's go through our best bets. Like you said, because like the next three I've already bet, so there's no question of if I got action or not. I've got 3 bets for everybody right now. So,
okay, well, let's do this and let's set it up nice so it looks good as we move in to this segment because we are going to be cutting this out. Welcome to our Saturday best bets here on Betting with the Bag. We have Daby Cab with us and action afoot. Daby Cab starts out with his best bets. Also, our live stream here right after our big Saturday Means Football show with Jeff Nadu and Peter Lochak. Then I've got 2 spots, and then Daby closes with 2 spots. There are 5 games on this segment. Let's get into them as I pop off first. And oh no, you pop off first. My bad. You pop off with the big live stream game. So let's get after it right now and set this one up. Here we go. 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, the number 6 ranked Oklahoma Sooners 7-0, 4-0 in the Big 12 at Kansas Jayhawks 5-2, 2-2 in the Big 12. We're at David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, Kansas, and the weather changes drastically on Saturday. It's very warm today. It's Thursday, and then it changes drastically on Saturday. Temperatures plummet. Same thing goes on Sunday. You know, the Broncos-Chiefs game, there could be snow. It's down to 34 Fahrenheit. But right now it's warm. On Saturday, it's cool. And in Lawrence, Kansas, on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, it is 40 Fahrenheit, cloudy with 9 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Daby Cab's first game on his best bet slate. We have Kansas right now as 9.5 or 9-point dogs in most books, except for the sharpest, and that is Pinnacle. Pinnacle has them as 10-point dogs. Now, that is juiced to minus 117, but 30 minutes ago at 1:19 p.m., it was minus 112. And at 8 in the morning, it was minus 110. At 11:15 yesterday, it was minus 107. So they've been at 10 for quite some time here. But it is getting more and more juice, that Kansas plus 10. But this opened at 10.5. Yes, it moved down to 9.5, and we see 9s on the board. But this opened at 10.5 and is still at 10 for Kansas. So a very slight move towards them. From a total scenario here, we are sitting with a 65. 65. This opened up at 66. It's dropped 1 point to 65. And then when we get into the cash flow for our big Saturday live bet stream hosted by Daby Cab and Connor Mack, 74% of the tickets and 76% of the cash is on Kansas. So why was there the buyback in the market, I wonder? From a total scenario here, we have just 17 tickets on the under and 65% of the cash. Wow. And it's dropped a point and the public's on the over. That is fascinating. Sooners come in off a big 34-30 win over Texas in the Red River rivalry as 4-point dogs before barely getting past UCF at home as 17-point favorites last week. Kansas comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 39-32 at Oklahoma State as 3-point favorites. Are they vulnerable here? Daby Cab, your best bet. Take it away.
Well, one of best bets, but let's just go over both these real quick. I'll go Gabriel on the season. You know, he's leading the Big 12 in total passing yards. He's got 2,131 yards on the season already. That works out to 304.4 yards per game, 19 touchdowns to the only 3 interceptions. So great ratio there. QBR rating of 87.6, which is 4th in the nation. He's just been outstanding. Oklahoma has the top scoring offense in the Big 12, putting up 43.1 points per game. Which is also 4th in the nation. So like I said, firing on all cylinders. Jayhawks this season, they've been in and out of the top 25 rankings. You know, it seems like every time they crack through, they fall right back down. You know, they were 24th when they lost to Texas. They got their way back up to 23rd and then lost to Oklahoma State, who's showing to be a little bit better football team than I think we thought. You know, but even in that game, Kansas was up and found a way to lose it. Daniels is still questionable here for Oklahoma. It's been Bean, the senior, Jason Bean. I think he's going to continue to stand in. He's played more than Daniels this season anyways. So he's got 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, that's good. He threw for 410 yards against Oklahoma State. So again, he's been doing great. This is just, this is a thing where top football teams like Oklahoma, they look over their opponents sometimes. They play down to their level. They step down to an opponent, and people are always looking to catch. Like when that happens, it does not often happen 2 weeks in a row if it is a genuine top tier football team. And I believe that Oklahoma is really one of the top teams in the nation here. I do not think they slip up like they did last week. I think they come out ready to play football. And you've seen, against a better defense like Texas, Kansas, as good as their offense is, that it can get shut down, and their defense is, plenty vulnerable to this Sooners offense. So what I did in this game, with my leading into the theory that Oklahoma comes out ready to play, it's not going to be like last week. I took Oklahoma in the first half, -5.5, -110.
-5.5 at -110. It feels like this is a sharp under, just judging the market. Can you touch on the X's and O's to possibly give me confidence to bet this under? Because it's gone from 66 to 65, and we have the public betting the over, but it looks like we have the pros betting the under. Can you touch on your thoughts on that total that has dropped a point despite 83% of the tickets on the over?
When we talk about totals here, especially at a number like 65, if it's a blowout, like you look at, like, again, the Texas game that I'm going to reference where they lost 40-14, it just doesn't get there. And I think this might be a blowout, Jimmy. I genuinely think Oklahoma might lay the fucking wood to Kansas here, even at home. And in blowout type situations, the game goes under. I think that Oklahoma could hold Kansas's offense down here. Kansas's defense, I wouldn't put much trust in them. They're allowing 396.1 yards of offense per game, which is 10th in the Big 12. And I talked about Gabriel and, Oklahoma's offense already. But again, if it's a blowout, yeah, I think it goes under, and I think it's a blowout.
I'm going to bet the under. So I have a look now on Daby's first best bet of this Saturday card. He's on the Sooners first half -5.5. Don Play also liking the under. Coin saying this opened at circa at 68.5. I like everything about this. Nice to have more action on Saturday. Let's move on to the next game here, and this has become my best bet of the weekend.
Ooh.
We move on to Western Michigan Broncos. I almost start laughing just because I know you guys like the high-profile games. I'm sorry.
You guys. Yeah, I like all of it, man. I like all of it. Look, I said it last week. If you put this on a Tuesday, everybody would love it.
Bum fights. Well, it's the alone 1 p.m. game. How about that? Western Michigan Broncos 2-6, 1-3 in the MAC at the Eastern Michigan Eagles 4-4, 2-2 in the MAC. We're in Ypsilanti, Michigan here. 51 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Let's get into this line history here for this one. The lone 1 p.m. starter here. And now, obviously, there is a bit of a bias because we were heavy on Jacksonville State when they beat Eastern Michigan. I was in Jacksonville State when they beat them 21-0. Watched the game, cashed heavily on it, and it felt great. But I feel like this is a perfect spot as well. This total opened up at 44.5 and has gone up to 47. We have a 2.5 point move towards the over at Pinnacle. And from a point spread standpoint here, we are sitting with Western Michigan -3 at -103. They opened up at -2, and they're now at 3. This 3 got up to -116. Got up there yesterday. It was heavily juiced, and it's come down. It's come down. Maybe that would make someone nervous here. Not really for me. But it's a little, it's not, I don't like it. Let me just say that. I don't like it. But I've loved this spot as I've studied it. We have 64% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the under, and yet it's just climbed. This total has just climbed. Then we have 61% of the tickets and 67% of the cash on Western Michigan. 61 and 67, and the markets move towards them. So yes, Western Michigan has lost 4 of 5 football games. But they've come against really strong competition. Let's go over the 5 games. They lost 49-31 at the overall conference leader, Toledo. They beat Ball State at home easily, 42-24. Then they lose at Mississippi State, 41-28. Then they face the two other leaders of the MAC, right? They lose to Miami of Ohio at home, 34-21. Miami, Ohio is a good football team. And then they lose at Ohio, 2017. I'm telling you, they are primed to put together a winning streak against the weaker competition of the MAC. And I think Eastern Michigan is weak competition in the MAC. The Western Michigan defense, if you just look at the statistics, they're bad. But again, I stress, look who they've played. They're allowing 34.3 points per game, 405 yards per game. The fact that, the 34.3 points allowed is 122nd in the country, I just don't believe it tells the story here. Their 6'5" junior quarterback, Hayden Wolf, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, 698 passing yards. They have Jalen Buckley, who's a monster, 637 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns. Kenneth Womack, he's only got 1 touchdown catch, but that also doesn't tell the story. I think he's very talented, and he's got a good thing going with Wolf. Then there are angles here and trends. And you can come up with trends that tell you Western Michigan is a spot, and you can come up with trends that tell you Eastern Michigan is a spot. And I'll give you both. I'm not just only going to give you the Western Michigan side just because I'm betting, or I've bet them and I like them. But the favorite has won in Western Michigan's last 8 games. They're the road favorite here. Western Michigan's covered the spread in all of their last 7 road games against conference opponents. So let's move on to Eastern Michigan. They beat Ball State and Kent State at home. Who cares? Those are bad football teams. And I watched the Kent State Eastern Michigan game, and Kent State, opened up with a fake kick in their opening kickoff. They opened up with an onside kick, and it was returned 44 yards to the house. It wasn't as bad as the score looked against a really bad Kent State team. Then they went to Northern Illinois and lost 2013 as 11.5-point dogs. So both teams are coming off covering games. They're only scoring 18.3 points per game. That's 123rd in the country. They average 110.5 yards rushing. That's 115th in the country. They're throwing 143.1 yards per game. That's 126th in the country. Their total offense is 132nd in the country. It's terrible. Austin Smith, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Now, sure that you can say the same sort of thing about Hayden Wolf, and that's fine. And then here are the edges for Eastern Michigan. The home team has won the last Eastern Michigan's last 8 games in their home here. And Eastern Michigan's covered the spread in each of its last 6 games against conference opponents. We had a similar stat for Western Michigan. The fact that Western Michigan is 2-6 going up against a 4-4 Eastern Michigan team, and they're the favorite, it's because of who they played. And they're going to go to Ypsilanti, and they're going to beat Eastern Michigan. And I'm going to cash again, fading the Eastern Michigan Eagles. What do you think of this spot, Daby Cab? Take it away, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan.
You kept saying, what tells the story, right? The line should tell you the story. Western Michigan's favored on the road here, coming into this game. Anybody who looks at it's going to see their record and just think, oh, why is this terrible team favored here on the road? Well, they're favored because of the competition. You also touched on this, so I don't want to reiterate everything too much, but even as bad as Mississippi State is, that's a step up in competition here. There's levels to this, just like there is anything else. Shout out to Dutch. I know he always says that. And you've seen it. Toledo, plenty of these games with Western Michigan, they played against better competition and they played good football games. Whereas you look at Eastern Michigan, you could argue that Jacksonville State's really one of their only step-up games they played, and they didn't put up a point, in that game early on in the season. I'd be on Western Michigan or pass here. I'm not betting this, but that's where I'd be.
Well, I will bet this. So this is the best bet for me of the weekend, is Western Michigan Broncos, 1 p.m. Eastern. We move on to the next spot, and I like it more and more and more. And we did best bets yesterday. I'm so happy we're doing it again because in the end, I like these 2 spots more than the 2 I moved on yesterday. So let's move on to this spot right here, please. There we go. Let's roll. 3 p.m. Eastern. This is my second best bet on the card. Memphis Tigers 5-2, 2-1 in the American at North Texas Mean Green, 3-4, 1-2 in the American. We're in Denton, Texas, and there's scattered thunderstorms. It could be raining during this game. It might not be. It's unclear. There's definitely going to be rain at some point during the game. 64 Fahrenheit. It is warm. Let's go into the line history here for this one, popping off at 3 p.m. The lone 3 p.m. game, I should say as well. Now, Pinnacle has moved this all the way to 7. Now that 7's at plus money. That 7 was at minus 103 at one point, but it's at plus money. Every other book's at 7.5. Every other book. But Pinnacle, the sharpest of them all, is offering you Memphis on the 7. I think that's important here. Open it up at 8.5. We've had a 1.5 point move towards North Texas. Let's get into the total here for this one. And over here for the 3 p.m. spot. Oh, sorry. Got to get this refreshed here. I have too many things open up. I apologize. Here we go. 3 p.m. The total on Memphis, North Texas is very high. It's sitting right now at 69. It opened up at 67.5. We got up to 70 before there was buyback. So we have a move to the over, and we have a move to North Texas. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. You have North Texas is a very public spot. You know, I mean, it can't all be perfect. 83% of the tickets are on North Texas and 78% of the cash. But at least this line is moved down to 7 or 7.5 where I got it. From a total side of things, you have 85% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the over. And Ronnie Imburia says he's cashed on the Mean Green 3 times this year, including 2 in a row. So both teams have a familiar foe in Tulane, a very good football team. Memphis lost at home to Tulane 31-21 as 5-point dogs. Then they bounced back and beat UAB, a really bad UAB squad, something unfamiliar, you know, over the last few years. I mean, much better, but bad this year. They beat them 45-21 on the road as 7.5-point favorites. Everybody sees that Memphis just beat UAB 45-21. UAB outgained Memphis 381-352. It was that UAB turned the ball over 4 times. Memphis didn't have a turnover. Now, we talk about the Memphis offense all year, averaging 416.1 yards per game. Defensively, they're bad. They allow 371.1 yards per game. Has Seth Hennigan taken the next step that people expected? 15 touchdowns, 7 picks. He's completing 66.3% of his passes. I don't know. North Texas comes in off having played Tulane very tough. In New Orleans, on the road. 35-28 is 20-point dogs. And they put up 426 yards against Tulane. Chandler Rogers did everything you could hope for. He's doing that this year. 14 touchdowns and 1 interception Rogers has. He completed 35. He went 35 of 51 for 343 yards against Tulane. This North Texas team is real. They're only 1-2 in the American. They're only 3-4 on the season. Chandler Rogers at home will take care of business and get the cover. I'm on the Mean Green here in Denton, Texas. Not too far away from you, Daby Cab. What do you think of this spot, Memphis, North Texas?
Yeah, it's not far away, man. I always pay attention to when Pinnacle has a better line. You know, I don't bet with Pinnacle, but I still like to look at the line since I've heard you and Pete talk about that. Memphis has been good on both sides of the ball here. Offense is 20th in the nation, putting up 35.6 yards per game. Defense is 51st in the nation on points per game. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm sold on this Memphis team. I've gone so back and forth this year. This is a team I usually follow. I like them more in basketball and ready for college basketball season. But North Texas, as far as, being a mid-tier team this season with a 3-4 record, they've still done things like you just said. They played a good game against Tulane. They lost that football game they were always going to, but they played a good game there. Their quarterback played well in that game. It was very impressive. I got no problem taking the points here with Memphis, with North Texas. But really, I think it goes over even at 69.5, which is why I got no problem taking the points. I just think there's not going to be anybody stopped at very many points in this game. I know that I said Memphis has been good on both sides of the ball, but they still have holes on defense here. I think it gets over. I just think it gets over. I think there's plenty of points.
Do you want to make the over official here for our record-keeping purposes?
This is not going to find its way into my best bets of Saturday.
It's going to find a way into mine. North Texas,
I love it.
Mean Green plus 7.5 in Denton, Texas. We move on. 2 more games, and then, yes, everybody, the Cappers Contest show is a go. It's going to go right after this. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. And we head to the Pac-12, to Berkeley, California for this one. 4 p.m. Eastern. Number 24 ranked USC Trojans, 6-2, 4-1 in the Pac-12 at the California Golden Bears, 3-4, 1-3 in the Pac-12. We're at California Memorial Stadium, 64 Fahrenheit, sunny, 9 miles per hour. There's perfect rotation in the house. Dav Fenn also saying we're 1 like away from 100. Thank you guys for your support. It means a ton to us. Let's get into the line history for Cab's second best bet on today's card. And this one will be fun. We'll start with the total sitting at 67.5. Opened up at 67. It got up to 68.5. There's been a point of buyback, so it's sitting at 67.5. Let's get into the spread here for this one. From a point spread perspective, this is sitting at 11 for USC, minus 11. They opened up at minus 10, up to 10.5, down to 10, and then back to 11, where they have stayed. Now, this 11 is juiced to Cal. So when it first moved to 11, it was minus 108 on each side. So at 11, there's been an 8-cent move to Cal, but there's been a 1-point move overall to the Trojans. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this 4 p.m. spot. We have on the total 11% of tickets on the under and 37% of cash. That is very, very interesting. 89% of the tickets on the over. It started to move up and then it dropped a point. That has piqued my interest. 67% of tickets and 89% of cash on Cal. And the lines moved a point to USC. Very, very interesting. USC comes off its second straight loss, 34-32 at home to Utah as 7.5-point favorites. That was our live bet stream. So Cab was heavily invested in that and watching every second of it. Cal comes in off its bye week. We last saw them also losing to Utah in Salt Lake City, though, 34-14 as 9.5-point dogs. Ian Shaber says, I think Cal covers. Coin saying, I love this information from Coin as well with the Circa openers. Circa opened this up at 67.5. Daby Cab's best bet, numero 2, USC Trojans, California Golden Bears. Take it away.
Yeah, that was a great game, man. That was a lot of fun to be live for that game. I didn't, I had a huge bet on Ole Miss second half. I gave it out, told everybody, a lot of people got on it, and that wasn't necessarily the game we were live to, but that cashed. And then we, focused back in here on USC and got in on USC live when they were losing with only I think 6 minutes left or so. We got plus 260. Some people got better lines. Barely missed out on that, but it was still a lot of fun. And it felt like a good bet, at plus money since it just missed on the field goal. I think, like or hate Lincoln Riley here, you look at what he said after the football game, and this is, Jimmy, one of the things I think we could do here at Pub Sports Radio, and I don't mean to take too much time because I know we got to hurry, but is have people get on here and debate certain things. Like, should Caleb Williams pack it in for the season? Should he be done, because he should be a first-round draft pick, this, that, and the other. That was a hot topic going around. And, some people have their opinions because he can't win a Heisman now. USC's not going to the playoffs now, right? All these things that were on their checklist, to do for the beginning of the season, they're gone. They've been checked off. So what's left? And I think a lot of people here, this would be like a situation where most people would say, why would I bet on USC at this point? And that's where, you talk about your Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan. That's where I find value in games that are bigger games that aren't necessarily that exciting for people is when, everybody bails. Everybody's out on USC right now. What Lincoln Riley said after the game, last week, he said it was a heavyweight battle, 2 good football teams going at it, came down to the last play, and he said his locker room is torn up, but it should be torn up. They had 2 losses in a row. So what it's going to come down to is who are they going to play for? What are they going to play for? And I think this is a situation where USC still comes out. Caleb Williams is going to keep playing. Okay. things are different now. They can openly make money. People have always made money in college football, but when people talk about the money, if you think he's not already paid, you're out of your mind. He's already paid, right? He's already making millions of dollars. He's going to play. He's going to show up. He's going to just increase his draft stock. And I think in the first half here, getting USC under a touchdown against California is a steal. USC's offense is still what their offense always has been, even after these 2 losses against really good football teams. California is a team I've attacked a couple times. I'm 2-0 betting against them this year in the first half. If I can get a team like USC, I had Utah in the first half. Now it came down to the wire, but it cashed, and that's all that matters. You give me, under a touchdown in the first half with, a team that I think is just on another level, I'm going to take it. USC here, first half. That's where I'm at.
USC first half. What was the line that you got?
-6, -110.
What do you think of the public hammering this over and it moving towards the under?
Yeah, I don't think Cal's going to, even with how bad USC's defense is, I don't think Cal's going to put up a ton of points here. I told you earlier, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but I try and find spots that I feel like this about. If I think a game could be a blowout, I think it goes under, right? Mm-hmm. Remember I said that this is where I'm at here again. If I think USC, gets ahead early, which I think is what happens, I think it's a relaxing second half that cruises to the under and USC winning.
And Lincoln Riley with pneumonia, I thought that he was going to be back on the sidelines this Saturday, but that may not. I mean, with pneumonia, you don't know.
You never know.
Because sometimes, you saw me in Costa Rica. I had to come back to work for other reasons, so it stuck with me for 9 months. I had 9 months of pneumonia, but I worked through it. It was horrible. So we don't know. But I heard that he was going to be back on the sidelines on Saturday. But that is an interesting spot. I'm going to look closer at this under. It just feels like public all over this over here. And if the Trojans are somewhat checked out, will they be as locked in offensively? Robert Franklin on Cal plus 11. Dad Fence at 67 is another big number, but again, he leans to the over. And Ian Shaber thinking Cal covers. Key and VP Eats and Travel says, long day, not from me. I love this stuff. Key and VP Eats. We move on to the final game here on today's show. The Cappers contest has been pushed back 20 minutes to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern is the final best bet here. And it is the number 21 ranked Tennessee Volunteers, 5-2, 2-2 in the SEC, at the Kentucky Wildcats, 5-2, also 2-2 in the SEC. We're at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, 70 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 3 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for Cabby's last best bet on the board. We're sitting here with Kentucky as 3.5 point favorites. That's where they opened, but it initially moved to 3, got back to 3.5 and up to 4, and then dropped to 3.5. So overall, we've had an 8 to 10 cent move, depending on what side you're looking at. An 8 cent move towards Tennessee at -3.5, or a 10 cent move away from Kentucky from -12 down to -102 at the +3.5. So Tennessee Volunteers, 3.5 point road favorites. Let's take a look at the total then for this one. Here we go. Tennessee, Kentucky total. Sorry, it's moving a little slow. And here we go. This one at 7 p.m. And we're dealing with 51s and 51.5s, depending on where you shop. Over at Pinnacle, it's a flat 51. Opened up at 51.5, and it dropped to 51 this morning at 11:30 a.m. Again, it was yesterday. It moved to 11 on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. at 51. A half-point move towards the under. And from a cash flow standpoint, you have 51% of the tickets on Kentucky and 82% of the cash. And from a total perspective, you have 73% of the tickets and 96% cash on the under. 96% cash on the under. Absolutely wild. Here we go. Tennessee comes in off having their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 34-20 loss at Alabama as 8.5 point dogs. And Kentucky comes in off its second straight double-digit loss, losing 38-21 at home to Missouri as 1.5 point favorites. Tennessee, the road favorite here. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab. SEC action, Volunteers, Wildcats.
Yeah. Has this line? How much movement do you have on this line? Because a lot of the money and tickets are on Kentucky. It sounds like, and as far as I know, it's only moved slightly towards Tennessee, right?
No, it initially moved towards Kentucky. It went from the plus 3.5 down to plus 3. So that was the initial move, and then it started moving towards Tennessee to 3.5 to 4, and then back to 3.5.
Okay, gotcha. Kentucky coming in, they lost their second game straight here to Missouri on Saturday night. They were up 14-0 in that game, and then by halftime they were down 17-14. And then they had they gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter, didn't put up any points. It's just the same old Kentucky. It's same shit, different fucking year. Excuse my language getting in there, but it is what it is with Kentucky. Their quarterback, Leary, went 14 of 27 in the game with just 120 yards, 2 interceptions. Just, not good play here. Whereas Tennessee, I know that they were up early against Bama and then blew it, and this is a disappointing situation for Tennessee because that loss to Alabama all but eliminates their chances at an SEC title, I'd say. And now they're going to go meet a Kentucky team. That this is kind of somewhat of a rivalry, you could say here, and they've beating them. They've owned it. I mean, the only reason it's not a bigger rivalry at this point in time is just because Tennessee's owned Kentucky. They've won 4 of their last 5 meetings, and the Volunteers have dominated this all-time series. If you look back, which I'm not going to because it doesn't. I don't think that really affects now. I'm just saying they've won since this has started. Tennessee is going to be tested here. The Wildcats do have a good run defense. It's 13th in the nation. So Milton's going to have to step up here, the quarterback. But he's got a chance here to do it. This is Kentucky's pass defense is only 102nd in the nation. So they definitely are vulnerable there, which I think is where Milton's going to be able to exploit them. And I think that this game is going to be decided by, defense's ability to get off the field, which, Volunteers on third down, 34th in the nation, whereas Kentucky is 97th in the nation. I think Tennessee is able to get off the field. I think they're able to move the ball through the air. So I got Tennessee here. I also took them in the first half here because I got it under a field goal, -2.5 at -109.
Let's get that for you. Big shout out to Dante Mack, now a member of Pub Sports Radio. We love seeing that, Dante. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So we have Tennessee first half for Cab. Tennessee first half -2.5 at -109, 7 p.m. action over in Lexington. That is our show for today. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Daby Cab, for all of your hard work. Best bets in business here. Again, a review of best bets. Cab's on Tennessee first half -2.5. He's on USC first half -6. I'm going to look at the under after the show in that one. I'm on North Texas Mean Green +7.5 -110. I'm on Western Michigan -3 at -103 at Pinnacle. But it is available market ride at -110. And I didn't let that move scare me. Then Cab is on Oklahoma first half -5.5. And I am moving on the under in that one. That is our best bets. Please follow Daby Cab on Twitter at Daby Cab. Don't forget his big Saturday live stream on that Sooners Jayhawks game and Medicate Mondays every Monday. Daby Cab, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show, my man?
Oh, we don't have anything without you guys. So thank you guys, all you guys. You put your hard action in there too. And man, so many of you guys, I pay attention to your action because you cash on the daily. I just fucking love being a part of this, man. So shout out to you guys in the chat.
I love it. I love it, Daby Cab. Thank you for rolling with us, my man. I will be in touch. But thank you for rocking. Go get that cash, my guy. There he is, Daby Cab. Oh, there he is, Daby Cab. There we go. A key in VP Eats saying, why can't you make the show public, the Cappers Contest show? Well, we want to create more things for the members. We want to give them more. We're trying to figure out more ways to give back to them for being members of Pub Sports Radio because it means an enormous amount for us. So there's probably going to be more in the future. There will be more because we want to do stuff for our members. And we have plans. We have plans for Pubapalooza and other things, but we just really want to give back to them for giving us so much. Let's review all action before we put a bow on this. Let's go. In NHL, Gogster's on the Bruins money line in the under 6.5 at plus 125. Gogster's on Columbus first period in full game. I'm going to be on Columbus. I haven't moved on it yet, but I will be on Columbus. Winnipeg Jets, Detroit Red Wings for Gogster. He's on, right, Gogster there. Gogster's on the Jets to win and the under 6.5 at plus 230. I'm moving on the under 6.5 in San Jose, Tampa. Hope it's not too juiced. Colorado, Pittsburgh, we stayed off. I'm going to be on the Hurricanes -1. That hadn't moved yet, but maybe it will with the change in goaltending for the Kraken. But it's not like Grubauer's being good. Gogster's on the Hurricanes -1. Then the Flyers plus 105 for Gogster. I'm very interested in the under, but that will take a little bit of time. Senators, New York Islanders, we stayed off. And the Maple Leaf Stars, a huge move towards the Maple Leafs with the announcement that Wedgwood would be in goal for Dallas and Wall would be in net for Toronto. Then Gogster's on the plus 135 for the Blues, and Hofer going to be in net is the big news. And I'm not that comfortable with it. You know, Binnington's looked so good this year, and I'm going to have to study that now. I'm almost thankful. Just, you know, you want to have all the information, and I'm going to be on the Rangers -1, and I don't care if it's public. And, you know, you talk about square plays is that I really stay away from in certain sports, not in hockey. What you see, what you get. And, you know, so I'm not going to hesitate here. Ronnie and Bergia moved on the Blues on the puck line. So then in football, Gogster's on Rashad White over 12.5 rushing attempts. And I'm on the over 42, and the Buccaneers team total over 16.5. Gave those out on Tuesday night. Bet them then. Markets moved in my direction. Feel very good about it. Not only that, I got the Bengals at +6. I love that number right now. I'm not going to try to middle it at this point. Then in NBA, I'm going to be on the Sixers. I haven't moved on it yet, but I will be on them. Daryl's on the Bucs first half -3. Bucs first half team total over 59.5. Dame under 27.5 points. Suns Lakers, we both stayed off. But Stacks play today is the Brow over 49 points, rebounds, and assists. Johnny Gunn says Columbus is now public. Well, let's get that cash. I don't care in NHL. It's never affected me. It's, you know. And Sancho saying no same game parlay for tonight in NFL. That will be every time I do a live stream. I'm not going to push it. You know, I'm not going to add to what I put on. It's just going to be $100. I'm just going to keep it the way it is. I was in a funk. I needed to get out of it. You guys support me when I'm struggling, and it was great to destroy those live streams and make a ton of money. It was great. I'm just going to keep it the same. I've got the same game parlay ready for Sunday. I can't move on it yet because they hadn't given me the touchdown props. I'm only using one touchdown prop on it, but I've got it all set up, ready to pull the trigger, and I'm excited about it. Beal and Book officially out, says North Ender. Saturate says long shot of the day, AD to miss his double-double, a +330. Oh, that's wild. Mikey M, thank you for the kind words, my friend. To all of you, thank you for the kind words. Saturated, North Ender, Mikey M, Sancho, Johnny Guns, Ronnie and Bergia, the Nuke Worker, Jarek White, Billy Friedrich, Dante Mack, Justin McElvey, Key and VP, Eats and Travel, Ian Shaber, Robert Franklin, Dab Fenn. Dab Fenn always had my back. It means a ton. It means a ton. Gerald Jones, Sky Dragon, Troy Torrance, Perfect Rotation, Swig Bets, Slow Jams Arsenal. All of you guys. Dom Play. I wish I could shout you all out because you all deserve it. You all deserve it. Leonard Porsche Jr., Bankroll Spence, Harold Williams, Jeffrey Moore, Rants, Jarek White, and Ones. Thank you, guys. All right, 9 minutes before our next spot on the board. 9 minutes. Next spot on the board is the Cappers contest. Thank you all for supporting the show. You get into life what you put into it. I'm just very honored and thankful to have this opportunity to cap with you guys every day. It means so much to me. So let's go out there and succeed. Let's go out there and win. Let's improve our lives. Let's get that cash. Let's los bookmakers. Let's rock and roll and get paid doing it.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Daby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Conor Mack.